Could it be? But me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to day 2 of the NFL draft party here on the Louie T Network. Of course, I'm your set man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me as we are just in time for the first pick of the second round. Cleveland Browns on the clock. Pick is in. There are rumors already starting that teams are looking to move up. Go figure. Browns have a number of picks. As a matter of fact, 2 of the first 3 picks in the second round belong to the Cleveland Browns. So I'm assuming this first pick is going to be something to address the offensive line, if I had to guess. So that's where I'll start with this team and assume that they're looking to upgrade the offensive line here. It could be a wide receiver as well. They need a number of things, mostly on the offensive side of the football. So I'm anxious to see what the Browns decide to do to kick off day number 2 of the draft. And this will set the tone for the day. And, you know, as we get into the later rounds, they start bringing out some of the veterans and some of the memorable players from these different teams. And so you see Jim Brown coming out. Still looks good, too, man. So Jim Brown is going to come out and help announce this pick.
From Syracuse University, the great Hall of Fame fullback, Jim Brown.
All right, so as expected, the Browns take a tackle, Austin Corbett, out of Nevada. And so, as you heard Jim Brown just say, Austin Corbett, tackle out of Nevada, is the selection, and makes a ton of sense. It's a position of need. They didn't get it done yesterday. I know my man Sean Mack is probably not as thrilled with this pick because he's a big Connor Williams fan. And obviously the Browns themselves were not, as they go in a different direction here with Austin Corbett. But nonetheless, this is going to help them address an offensive line that really was decimated by the retirement of one Joe Thomas. And although they went out and got some help in free agency, not quite the same as Joe Thomas, obviously. So let's see what we got now. Sean Mack says, my Browns have to get Connor Williams because Sean Coleman stinks. Well, they got Austin Corbett. They feel the same way you do, just not about the same player that you do. So they went in a different direction. The Giants pick is in. I see Scott McCloughan, for us Redskins fans out there, Scott McCloughan chumming it up in the Browns war room as he's helping them with this draft. I still don't understand why they went with Denzel Ward with the 4th overall pick, but they did what they did. We'll see if he pans out. And so now Justin Tuck is coming up to announce the Giants' second pick in this second round. So we'll see what they decide to do. And, you know, we get a lot of boos here, and we're going to get a lot of guys and their pride and ego kicking in, and they're going to want to talk trash instead of just announcing the damn pick. There we go. I wish he would just announce the damn pick. This is what we got to put up with in the second round. All right, so Will Hernandez out of UTEP is the pick. So right away, the Giants understand what they have to do. You draft Saquon Barkley, you better get an offensive line to block for him because, like I said, we saw at Penn State that he wasn't the best when he had to create behind the line of scrimmage. You let him get downhill, and that's when he gets nasty. You got him running in circles behind the line of scrimmage, and he'll go backwards, and he'll lose 8 yards. So They gotta get that offensive line squared away. And I talked about this yesterday when someone asked me what I thought the Giants were going to do in day 2. I said, well, they've got to address the offensive line. All of their interior offensive linemen, including their center, all went elsewhere in the offseason. Both guards and the center gone in offseason. And so they had to address their interior offensive line, and Will Hernandez is going to do that. One of the better guards in this draft. The Giants getting another good football player as they select Will Hernandez out of UTEP. So makes a lot of sense as we start to really get into the draft. Browns are up again. Wouldn't shock me if they traded out of this pick here. But again, Browns could use more talent on their football team if they do decide to make this pick. But knowing the Browns and some teams that want to come up, Indianapolis having the next 2 picks, it wouldn't shock me in the least if the Cleveland Browns decided to trade out of this pick here. But we'll see what happens. Zenny Dragon says, which available edge rushers do you see for the Packers? The only really good edge rusher left that fits what the Packers do if they're still playing a 3-4 defense. It really doesn't matter. The best pass rusher left in this draft is Harold Landry. So I don't know if he's going to make it to you because of where you are in this draft. And I see a lot of teams that could use some edge rusher help in front of you. Chicago could use an edge rusher. Oakland could use another edge rusher. The Dolphins could use an edge rusher. Hell, New England struggled getting to the quarterback last year. Unless you're willing to trade up like you did in the first round to get what you want, I can't see Harold Landry making it all the way to you. But Jim Brown is back out to make the pick, and it's running back Nick Chubb. So I told my man Sean Mack that they needed more help at running back. And he kept trying to talk to me about days from NC State that they got last year. Also kept talking to me. I love Duke Johnson, but he's on the last year of his deal. And he kept talking to me about the Ohio State running back that they signed in the offseason. And I said, look, man, that sounds good, but you need more at running back. Matthew Days isn't scaring anybody. All right. Duke Johnson is on the last year of his deal, and he's a third down back, really. And you lost a big part of your rush offense when you allowed a guy that I thought was underutilized and really undervalued in that offense walk away and go to the Jets in free agency in Isaiah Crowell. So you shun one Georgia running back away, and you bring in a new former Georgia running back in Nick Chubb. Love the move. And other than the pick of Denzel Ward, everything the Browns have done in this draft has been pretty solid. The Baker Mayfield selection is debatable. I've always said that his size was a problem for me, but obviously everything else on the field they loved about him, and they probably even loved his competitive spirit as well, which I got to say I love it too. I love the fact that Baker's not backing down from anybody. I don't want him grabbing his nuts and taunting the opponent, but look, man, the guy wants to win, and he's a badass on the field, so can't really knock him for doing that. But in any event, let's keep it moving. Let's see. Tucktown AZ says, "What's up, Lou? I have a question for you. Do you think Arizona should grab a second quarterback like Falk or Laletta if available in the third or fourth to do the fact that Rosen?" Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to doing that. If I'm Arizona, look, don't allow Josh Rosen's ego to get in the way of doing what's right. His concussion history, you got two quarterbacks on your roster right now that all it takes is one hit and they're out. Sam Bradford is made of glass, and Josh Rosen is one knee away from, a knee to the skull away from being out. One helmet to helmet hit away from being out for the entire season. So you got to protect yourself. Similar to what the Redskins did with Robert Griffin in the third draft and Kirk Cousins in the same draft, you can't be afraid to pull the trigger. And he's got to know, you've got to reassure him, look, this isn't a guy that's coming in to challenge you for anything. We just want reassurance. We want another guy on the roster. You should feel good about your stance in this organization and where you stand, but we just need to have insurance. We need to have another guy behind you. I would definitely take another quarterback for sure. I think that's the smart thing for the Arizona Cardinals to do, but we'll see if they in fact decide to do that. Let's see. Gregory Lightbody says, "I'm starting to feel like you, bro. We could have had Derwin James, but guys all in on and Anderson convinced them to get Payne." Look, man, I'm not mad at the fact that they decided to go with the guy that they thought was the right guy. My problem with it is that everyone is so accepting of the pick as if the Redskins did the right thing because we got to fix the run game. We got to fix the run defense. And they're acting as if you couldn't have fixed the run defense with another guy. It'd be one thing if Payne was a three-down player and you felt like sky's the limit for what this guy could be at the next level. We know what he is as a football player. He's really good against the run. He started the point of attack. He'll make a play here or there, but he's not getting after the quarterback. And if you're not getting after the quarterback, you're not elite. And if you're not elite, you're not a first-round pick. It's as simple as that. You're not a top 15 pick. Let me rephrase that. You're not a top 15 pick, top 20 pick. And so would I have felt better about Payne if we would have traded back? Sure. You can pick up some picks, and then you want to take Payne at 20? Okay, I'm cool with that. But to take him at 13, it would have taken him and some other picks acquired to equal the value that you missed out on in not selecting a guy like Tremaine Edmonds or Derwin James. But enough of that. It's a new day, and the Indianapolis Colts are on the board for the first time today, the first of 2 straight picks. So let's see what they decide to do. Let's see. Anwar Muhammad says, where could you see Christian Kirk going? You could see him going to Baltimore. You could see him going to Oakland. Oakland still needs a slot receiver. So there are a number of teams I'm looking at. Indy could use 5 receivers. So it wouldn't shock me if one of these next 2 picks are a wide receiver. We've already seen 2 receivers come off the board in DJ Moore and Calvin Ridley. They need offensive line help, which they've already gotten with Nelson. They could use more, but they need running back help. If they're not totally sold on what Marlon Mack is, they could use a running back here. I told you, I thought at the top of the second round there was going to be a run on running backs. I told you that. It started at the end of the first round with Sony Michel and then Rashad Penny, and then you saw the Browns take Nick Chubb. So it wouldn't shock me if we see 2 or 3 more backs go in the next 5 to 7 picks. Here comes the Colts pick, and Joseph Adai to make the pick for the Colts, and the Indianapolis Colts select linebacker Darius Leonard out of South Carolina State. So that is the pick for the Indianapolis Colts. This is an active linebacker with some athleticism that can run sideline to sideline. They need an infusion of athleticism on their defense. And so, like I've said before, this league is about having guys that can move at every position on the field. It's almost like how basketball is turning into a positionless sport where every guy's got to be able to switch on pick and roll. Everybody's got to be able to switch on screens. Everybody's got to be able to guard every position on the court at all times, or you get left behind. It's sort of what the NFL is turning into. You got to have guys that can run just about every level of the football field, okay? Even your defensive linemen can't be fat slobs anymore. You need athletic defensive linemen, because even the offensive linemen are getting more and more athletic as the years go by. And so Darius Leonard fits that mold. He's a guy that can move, he can run, he can chase. He can make plays on the football. Again, he's what today's NFL linebacker looks like. 6'2", right around 235 pounds, can run sideline to sideline. That's what the NFL is morphed into. You know, smaller is better. You know, and so you've got to have guys that help you conform. And so that's what the Indianapolis Colts are looking to do. Their next pick is in, and it's Braden Smith, a guard out of Auburn. And so, I thought he was one of the guys I was most impressed with at the Combine. He was a tackle at Auburn. Because of his measurables, he's going to kick inside at the next level. And, man, he looks the part, man. I can tell you this much. I've got to watch more tape on him, so I don't want to sit here and gush all over this guy like I watched him on tape. But I can tell you this much. At the Combine, man, he was carved of stone. The dude, he didn't look like your average run-of-the-mill offensive lineman. I mean, he looked like a bodybuilder. I mean, the guy looked like he was cut straight out of straight steel. So they're getting a physically built offensive lineman. We'll see what happens. But the Colts are in full rebuild mode. And they start out the second round by addressing the offensive line and the linebacker position. And we're not done hearing from the Indianapolis Colts in this second round. They've still got yet another second round pick. So we'll see what they decide to do as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are now on the clock. See. Oh, Anwar Muhammad asks where I can see Christian Kirk going. I could see Christian Kirk going to a number of places. I could see him going to Oakland. They need a slot. Miami got 2 slots in free agency, so I don't think the Dolphins are in the market for a slot receiver. The Patriots could use the slot. They lost Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola in the offseason. He would fit perfectly there, and he's versatile. They love guys that can do multiple things. And then you get into the Redskins. He's not going to be a Redskin, so I think if you're and I could have sworn the Ravens, they must have traded out. I thought the Ravens were somewhere up in there. I could be wrong. Anyway, there's plenty of landing destinations, and don't forget the Cowboys need a wide receiver. They didn't take one in the first round as well. But Sean Mack says, I like Nick Chubb. John Perez says, would you be okay with Ronnie Harrison at 44? I'm telling you right now, if Darius Geis is on the board at 44, the Redskins are taking Darius Geis. And I wouldn't have a problem with that. I wouldn't have a problem with it at all. Kevin says, don't really care, but where you think Shaquem going? I don't know. I have no idea. It'd be great if they reunited him with his brother in Seattle, and that would seem like a kind of team that would take him. But I have no idea, to be honest with you, where he's going to end up. Your boss says, I'm praying that Harold Landry falls to the Raiders and is somehow still there in the second round. He's going to be there. You're only about 4 picks away. And I want to see what these picks look like, what these teams in front of you look like. But I can tell you right now, you might have a realistic shot at Harold Landry being there. Are the Raiders going to take him? I don't know. Zenny Dragon says, thanks for the insight. I would personally like to see the Pack switch to a 4-3 after getting Wilkerson in free agency. We need more big boys before that can happen. Doug says, love all the moves my Browns are making. I like the moves they've made so far as well, except for Denzel Ward at 4, but we'll see how that works. Redskin Review says, dude, I don't know why people been loving the Payne pick, man. We got another lineman too similar to who we already have. Again, which is my problem with the Payne pick, is he doesn't do anything different than the guys that we have. He's better at what he does. Okay, stopping a run, taking up multiple blockers. He's more stout at the point of attack than that of Ziggy Hood. He's more stout at the point of attack. He's a lot better football player than Terrell McClain or Stacey McGee. But he's no different from them in the fact that he doesn't get to the quarterback. So that's my problem there. But here comes Rondé Barber to announce the Buccaneers selection in the second round. Anxious to see what they do here after going and trading back in the first round and then selecting Vita Vea. I think this is going to be an offensive football player here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's see what they decide to do as Rondé Barber makes this selection for them. Ronald Jones, the second running back out of USC. I figured it would be an offensive player, and they get a speedy running back that's going to give them home run ability. I didn't necessarily love Ronald Jones, but I can tell you this much. The man gets a seam, he's gone. You're not going to catch him from behind. You want to see a tape of him just destroying a team? Watch him against Arizona in 2017. Absolutely destroyed Arizona in some Pac-12 after dark action. Destroyed them to the tune of almost 200 yards rushing and still had another 98-yard touchdown run called back due to a holding penalty. Listen to what I'm saying to you. Man should have ran for damn near 300 against Arizona one night. You want to see what this guy's all about? Turn on that Arizona game from 2017. That's what Ronald Jones brings to the table for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that's a big, big pick for them. And they've been missing that ability to hit the home run out of the backfield for quite some time now. Doug Martin gave them a little something, but he hasn't been right since his rookie season. That's a big pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Takes a lot of pressure off of Jameis Winston and that offense when you can just turn it around and have a guy go 67 on one touch. They haven't had that in their backfield since, dare I say, Warwick Dunn maybe? It's been quite some time since they've had a guy in their backfield that has been able to do the types of things that Ronald Jones the second can do. But the Bears pick is in. We'll see what they decide to do. Your boss says, you know, when you really think about it, Browns basically traded Deshaun Watson for Jabril Peppers and Denzel Ward. I mean, that's one way to look at it. And we'll see who gets the better of that trade when it's all said and done. BE says, Here comes Mike Singletary to make the pick for the Bears. And Goodell has just turned it over to him. And we'll see what he says. The Bears are going to select come on, Mike. Don't talk us to death now. Center James Daniels out of Iowa. And he can actually play guard as well. He needs to put on some weight, but he's another one of these guys that's extremely young. He's only like 20 years old, young pup. That offensive line, when healthy, has the makings of a group that could become one of the best in the league. They just got to stay healthy. Their problem is health up front. And you make the investment in going and getting Mitchell Trubisky. And I love the fact that over this offseason and into the draft, they've now made a concerted effort to give him all the weaponry necessary and protection necessary to be successful. They went out, got him a number 1 wide receiver, and got him a complimentary receiver in free agency. They turned around. Now they're getting him an offensive lineman. And so they're starting to really fill up his cupboard in Chicago and give him an opportunity to be successful. And so James Daniels is a guy that's going to help in Chicago on that offensive line. BE says, I want the Cardinals to go corner in the second round, maybe Josh Jackson and a receiver in the third round, a guy like DJ Chark. I think those are 2 smart picks, and I think both of those guys will be there when the Cardinals are on the board in both second and the third round. The only thing about DJ Chark is his speed may tantalize someone to take him a little bit earlier than your pick in the third round, but we'll see. Captain Spartan says, wish list for the Steelers tonight. Ronald Jones, that's already off the board. Equinemius St. Brown and Dorian O'Daniel from Clemson. So one of those guys off the board. We'll see if you can get your hands on one of the other 2. Sean Mack says, bro, did you see that chick that was holding a Colts sign? Give me some of that. No, I missed that, man. I missed her. I'm pretty sure if she's all of that, like you're saying, we'll see her again before this telecast is over. Buddy Christ says, just realized Cleveland has gone 4-4 the last 3 years. No wonder they have a bazillion picks this draft. I don't even know what that means, Buddy Christ. You got me on that one. Archangel says, the draft is moving even faster, Lou. I love it. Well, you know, it's the second day, and teams have a shorter period of time between picks. They go from 10 minutes to 5 minutes. It's supposed to go from 10 to 5. I don't know if it's the second or the third round where it goes from 10 to 5 minutes, but once you get to this point of the draft, you kind of know what guys you're targeting and who's on the board. It's not as hard of a decision. So it's going to go a lot faster, and you see that now. I mean, you're not lying. The Redskins are literally 4 picks away, and it seems like the second round just started. So it is moving pretty rapidly. Sean Mack says, the Colts now have Newhart and Smith at offensive guard and Kelly at center. That's a great start. It is. If Newhart can stay healthy, and I don't know if Jack Newhart was brought back. I think he was a free agent. And I don't know if they re-signed him or not in Indianapolis. I'd have to get back with you on that. But the Denver Broncos pick is in. So we're going to see what they decide to do after getting a steal in the first round with Bradley Chubb. Let's see how they follow that up with their pick in the second round. Damn Twin says, Payne was our first round pick, and I know you aren't thrilled. None of us should be. But moving on, what do we need to do in your view to make up for that pick? Well, it's not about making up for that pick. What's done is done. I just make smart picks moving forward. There's nothing to be made up, okay? You made the selection. Now we got to live with it. This next pick, if Darius Geis is there, it's going to be Darius Geis. Because in my mind, and I could be wrong. Like I said, I've been wrong before. I didn't think Monte Nicholson was going to be a physical football player. He's been everything except soft. He's physical as physical can get, which is why he can't stay healthy, because he's launching his helmet and he's knocking dudes out, but he's knocking himself out in the process. So I've been wrong before, and I'm going to be wrong again. But my gut tells me, and my head says that before the draft, they went in with a plan. And that plan was Payne in the first round, Geis in the second round. If they get their wish and Geis is on the board, they've already made up their mind what they're going to do. They're going to turn that card in. And so if Darius Geis is on the board in 3 picks from now, he's going to be a Washington Redskin. But moving forward, what we need to do is just make smart picks. Address the needs that we have. We got another need on the offensive line at guard. We need to address that at some point. We have a need at tight end, I believe. We need a blocking tight end. We could use another receiver. We could use another corner. There are a number of ways that we can go. So I would look for them to just address those as they see fit. Oh, okay. Thanks, Red. Andrew Kim says, Ravens used their second round pick to trade up to 32. They have 2/3 and a fourth. I got you. Okay, I thought the Ravens were in there somewhere. That's right. They traded up for Lamar Jackson at the end of the first round. That's right. Anwar just confirmed that for me as well. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Mindraw says, off topic. I had a rough day today. Glad I can sit back, relax, and listen to your stream right now, man. I appreciate it. Hey, thank you for joining us, man. It's been a long day for all of us. Fridays are always good days, but they can be long days as well. Good to be able to come, unwind, and catch a little bit of draft, man. And so here come the Denver Broncos. Is that Steve Atwater? Damn, Steve look good, man. Some of these dudes taking care of themselves, man. If that's Steve, I might be wrong, man. Don't get me the line, but that looked like Steve Atwater. Hold on. That damn sure look like Steve Atwater. And it is Steve Atwater. Man, Steve look good, man. Steve look good. And the Broncos take Courtland Sutton, receiver out of SMU. And that just tells me that they're one step closer to moving away from one of those wide receivers, whether it's Emmanuel Sanders or it's Demaryius Thomas. I think it's Thomas. And with that big body receiver that they just brought into the mix, I'm thinking it's Demaryius Thomas. They owe him a bunch of money. And it wouldn't shock me that if he's one of those prior to June 1 cuts with this addition of Courtland Sutton, they could have all three of those guys for Case Keenum, and that would be great because last year when either one of those big two receivers were hurting, that offense was hurting. So they need a guy like Sutton to go in there and help, and he's a big body receiver, one of the few big body receivers in this draft that can actually run a little bit. And so, you know, there's still some other big guys like Marcel Aitman that can run really fast, but all of those guys, as you can see, this little highlight package, they don't all bring to the table what Courtland Sutton brings to the table. The guy's got tremendous hands, as you can see. I've broken him down already in the Draft Prospects 101 series, so that's a good pickup for the Denver Broncos as we continue to move right along. Vincent Cole says, how about Dallas Goedert to the Skins in the second round if Ronald Jones and Geis both went before? I wouldn't have a problem with that, but here's my problem with Dallas Goedert is he's similar to Jordan Reed in the run game. We don't need another one of those. We need a guy that can block. So if you're not getting me a tight end that is a dual threat to block and to catch it, then I'm not interested. So even though Dallas Goedert would be a nice fit from a pass catching standpoint, I'm good. I'm going to pass. Looks like the Cowboys were looking to draft Courtland Sutton. They should have drafted him yesterday. But they wanted Vander Esch more, so you can't have it both ways. They were looking to trade up. Looks like they didn't find that trade partner that they were desiring, and so they lost out on the guy. And I thought he would have been the perfect fit. You lose Des Bryant, you get a guy similar stature, does the same thing, can go up and high point the football. They had a chance. They blew it. So now they've got to settle for another receiver in this draft. And they'll get a receiver at some point in this draft, you've got to believe. But in any event, Raiders are on the clock. They went tackle first round in Colton Miller. Let's see how they follow up with the second pick as the John Gruden 2.0 regime is underway. Archangel says, any special hidden gems or sleepers that we all may be sleeping on left? There's plenty of sleepers in the draft always. You're still in the second round and even into the third. You're still on players that we should all know about. There aren't too many sleepers. Darius Leonard may have been a guy that a lot of people might not have heard of. He first got on my radar at the Combine. Mike Mayock followed up by basically saying, look, this is a guy you need to know about. So I watched a little bit of him. So I had a little bit of knowledge. But for the most part, everybody at this point we still know about. So the Titans trade up with the – so let's hit that draft button or the trade button, excuse me. So the Titans trade up, and they came up and got a linebacker. I think this is for Harold Landry. I really think that the Titans are coming up here for Harold Landry. I thought they were going to take him in the first round. I had them mocked to take Harold Landry in the first round. If they're able to get him in the second round, I think that is tremendous value for a guy that I thought they were going to have to take in the first round. So we're going to see who they came up to get, but I'm putting my money on the Titans coming up. And you know they got a defensive-minded head coach in Mike Vrabel. I am putting my money on the fact that they're coming up here for the second time in the draft, moving up to select a defensive player. And this time, I think they need pass rushing help. And I think the guy here is Harold Landry. We will see. If you're a Raiders fan, you got to be a little bit disappointed if this, in fact, is Harold Landry, because Khalil Mack could use a tag team partner on the other side of the football field. Yet, you seem to think it's okay to just have Bruce Irvin out there on the other side. So this was a chance to get a guy that could be a true difference maker on the opposite side of the field. And it looks like you traded that option away. And I really think this option, this pick is going to be Harold Landry. Let's see if I'm right or if I'm wrong. As Vince Young, look at Vince. Vince in the house to announce the pick. Let Kerry have it. Let's let Vince have his pick. Let's see what they do.
Welcome from the University of Texas in Austin, quarterback Vince Young. Yeah. Hook 'em horns. Tighten up, baby. Tighten up. With the 41st pick in the 2000.
There it is. There it is. I'll let Vince tell you.
Select Honor Landry from Boston College.
Damn, Vince can't read. Shit. Kids, this is why you stay in school. It's your best move. Reading is fundamental. It's not like Harold Landry has a tough name, all right? It's not like Harold Landry has one of these crazy African names or some kind of name that you could botch, right? His name is Harold, as in Harold in the purple crayon, Harold. Anyway, I was right. Titans come up to get Harold Landry, and who didn't see that one coming, right? They always talked all offseason long about getting pass rushers. They needed more pass rushing help. Harold Landry was the guy that I mocked them to take in the first round. They do it even better. They get him in the second round. Now they had to give up some draft capital to do so, but I'm not mad at them. They got the guy that they targeted, and so that's a big move because to me he was the most explosive pass rusher in this draft, and they just got him at 41 in the second round. Big move there for the Tennessee Titans. Dolphins pick is in. We'll see who they decide to take. I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't a quarterback, to be honest with you. The next two picks wouldn't shock me in the least if these are quarterbacks. One of these two teams take a quarterback here. Buddy Christ says, Payne going to be the next Mean Joe Green. Well, let's see. I hope you're right. Mondraw says, where do you grade? Man. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Where am I at? Kevin says, who is the second best running back and why is Geis falling? Well, it was debatable. You know how the running back position, just like the receiver position, this was a draft where there wasn't a clear number 2, clear number 3. Just like at the receiver position, there wasn't a clear number 1. I told you, if you talk, and I told you that back when we were breaking down these prospects, I said, it depends on who you ask. You can ask 5 different people, and they'll give you 5 different sequential orders of receivers in this draft. Same with the running back position. After Barkley, there wasn't a clear number 2. There wasn't a clear number 3. You ask 5 different people, and after Barkley, you'll get, obviously, the Seattle Seahawks valued Rashad Penny higher than any of these other backs. So, obviously, not named Saquon Barkley. So, it's just all depending on who you're talking to. So, my second rated running back in this draft was Darius Geis. So the fact that he's still on the board, You got to be encouraged if you're a Redskins fan because that's who the Redskins are going to take. But I don't think he's fallen. I just think other teams had other guys pegged higher than him. So it's not a necessary situation of him falling. Sean Mack says, great pick by the Bears. He's from Ohio too. Hashtag Ohio Pride. Mondraw says, what are your opinions on the UCF players in this draft? Like them but don't love them. I don't really have that big of an opinion on them. Mike Hughes, to me, is interesting because of his return ability. But I think he's solid as a corner. I don't think he's as good. And I would have loved to have seen him travel. I can't, as a defensive coordinator, and again, this has nothing to do with the player. And I said this on his breakdown. As a player, as a coach, I don't want to see. So the Raiders received the Titans' 57th overall pick and their 89th pick in the third round. So they get their second and third. So they swap seconds, and the Raiders pick up an additional third round pick. But in any event, I'm not going to allow a guy to eat my ass alive on the opposite side of the field while I'm supposed to have a big-time corner and he's checking some no-name bum on the other side of the field. They literally allowed Anthony Miller to go off about 14 catches and $150 and a couple of touches while your best corner is on the other side of the field, straight cold chilling. I don't get that. But anyway, here come the Dolphins and their second-round pick. And I think, like I said, these next two picks, it wouldn't shock me if they went quarterback. They tried to trade Jawan James, so it wouldn't shock me if they went offensive line either. So let's see what they decide to do here with this pick. They went tight end Mike Gesicki out of Penn State. So they get an offensive weapon for Ryan Tannehill, and he's one of the better pass-catching threats in this draft from the tight end position. We saw him blow up the combine. We saw him run fast. We saw him jump high, and you see it on tape. I don't know if he's as fast on tape, but he's a guy that can definitely jump, and I saw that on tape multiple times. But he's not a run blocker. You know what you're getting with this guy, Gesicki here. He's going to catch the football, as you can see his cut-ups here. But your ball says, why are so many teams drafting offense this year in the second round? Because you got to get what you need when you need it, especially once you get into the second round. This is where you start more so drafting for need. Less best player. After you get out of the first round, it's more of best player available. When you're in the first round, it's best player available. When you're in the second round, it's, hey, I need to get what I need to get. So you're drafting for more of a need. You'd like to match best player available in need, but it's more so need than anything else in the second, third round, fourth round. You start getting into the fifth, sixth, seventh round, then you go back to best player available. What is this guy doing here? We like this guy, had a third round grade on him. Lions come up to 43, so we'll hit the trade button again. Lions come up to 43 in front of the Redskins. So I'm thinking this is for Darius Geis. I'm thinking that the Detroit Lions trade in front of the Redskins to get a running back. Now, is it Darius Geis? Everyone in league circles knows the Redskins are madly in love with Darius Geis. They made no secret about that. And it may come back to bite them here as the Detroit Lions may sneak in front of them and take Darius Geis right from under their nose. We'll see what happens. Reese says, Lou, I did it again. I told you Ronald Jones was my Chris Godwin. You did. You told me that from the jump. And you did it again, man. You got some kind of Buccaneer juju going here, man. Some telepathy. You know something. Why don't you kick some of that my way, man? Pick is in for the Lions. I think this is Darius Geis. They need a big-time running back. I think the only running back that they got in free agency was LeGarrette Blount. That's not going to get it done. So this is, to me, this is, damn, that's impressive. To me, this is Darius Geis here. Look at Mike Gesicki balling on these chumps. Joshua Menace says, I hope my Dolphins get Geis, a tight end, or Josh Jackson. Well, you got your tight end, man, and you got a damn good one, as a matter of fact. He doesn't block. I hope you're not looking for him to do that, but he catch the goddamn football with the best of them in this draft. J. Cam Man says, what's going on with Darius Geis? Why is he slipping? He's not slipping. I answered that earlier. He's not slipping. Aries Falcon says, my SC boy is a yuck. He's talking about Darius Leonard. And the boy can ball. Buddy Christ says, Cleveland Browns record is 4 wins, 44 losses. Oh, well, they've been trading too. That's how they got all these picks. So here comes a guy that is on the NFL Network and Nate Burleson to announce the Lions pick here. I think it's Darius Geis. That's what I think. We're going to find out here in a second what this pick is. Nate making himself quite comfortable up here to make this selection. And it is. I would like Nate to make the damn pick. That would be nice. Nate is doing everything but making the damn selection. This is what you got to take in the second round. Hope, as long as y'all know, this is what you got to take in the second round. Okay. He's preaching to the crowd right now. All right. Okay. So any minute now we'll get the pick. I promise. I promise. Okay. We'll get the pick here in the next 30 seconds. I promise. Here it is. Here comes the pick. Kerryon Johnson, Auburn running back. So I knew it was a running back. Got the wrong guy. But they got in front of the Redskins because they knew the Redskins were taking it back. Maybe they had intel that the Redskins really wanted Kerryon Johnson. Maybe that's why they came up. They couldn't be sure. I told you who I think the Redskins are taking at 44. I think the plan all along going into the draft was Daron Payne in the first round. That's why they brought both of those guys in on the exact same day when they had their interviews with these guys, their private workouts. They knew all along what they wanted to do. First round, Daron Payne, and they knew Payne was going to be there. No one was taking Daron Payne earlier than 20 in this draft because he wasn't worth a top 15, top 20 pick, to be honest with you. But we're not doing that anymore. They knew he was going to be there. So they knew they didn't have to fight over Daron Payne. The question was Darius Geis going to fall to us? Now, we've heard rumors about Darius Geis over the last 48 hours or so about him lying, potentially lying. I don't know who's telling the truth. Okay, NFL said they did an extensive background check and went into his story about teams asking him, was he gay, about his mom being a prostitute, and now the Redskins trade out. So that tells you all you need to know right there, that Kerryon Johnson was the guy the Redskins wanted. He's off the board. Lions knew who the Redskins wanted. That's why they went in front of him. So now the Redskins probably getting a third-round pick here. So Redskins fans have wanted to get back into the third round. Here's your opportunity to do so. And it's not a coincidence that they're doing business with good old Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch in San Francisco as the Redskins trade out. Let's hit the trade button. Redskins trade out of 44, allow the 49ers to come up. Redskins probably going to gain a third-round selection with this move. I'd be surprised if they do not. And so, excuse me. I'm thinking, what else are the Redskins going to get? Because for the Redskins to move back this far, and obviously they're out of the second round now, are the Redskins. The 49ers don't have another selection, I don't believe, in the second round. I could be wrong. But I don't believe they have another selection. I'm looking at the end of the first round, and I see the 49ers at the back end. That may be the Redskins pick now. That back end of the second round pick. And that they need an additional third rounder to move back to where they did. I think the Redskins are still in the market for a running back. But now what moving back does and picking up an additional pick does is it gives you the flexibility now that you don't have to necessarily draft a running back with this next pick in the second round. You can go with an offensive lineman. You can go with a guard here. and then come back and get your running back with the pick that you get from the 49ers. So I'm anxious to see what the compensation is here for the Redskins with this trade with the 49ers. I'm anxious to see what the 49ers come up to get. They felt the need to get in front of Green Bay to get whatever it is they came up to get. So the Lions traded the 51st pick and a 4th round pick. The Redskins get a 3rd rounder and they get the 59th overall pick. So the Redskins do now, in fact, have a 3rd round pick. Bravo, Redskins. Bravo. Love the move. You still have a 2nd round pick. And now you pick up a 3rd round pick. So now we got a complete draft. Now I'm excited about what the Redskins have just done. Now I'm anxious. And we gave up a 5th round pick. Remember, we had 2 5th round picks. We give up one of those in this trade. So now the question now becomes, is that Merton Hanks? Is that Merton Hanks? God damn it, that's Merton Hanks. Well, I wouldn't give to get Merton Hanks to give me one head bobble. Give me one of these, Merton. Give me one of these. I would love for Merton to give me one of them head bobbles right now, man. Y'all don't know nothing about that. I'm too old for y'all. But let's see what the 49ers decide to come up and get. As they trade up, well, we might get another guy that wants to talk our heads off. So, hey, sit back, relax, and allow Merton Hanks to do what he does. Wide receiver Dante Pettis. So that's a little bit of a curveball. I don't think anyone suspected that Dante Pettis would be this early of a selection. But this guy, again, I've said this before. I'll say it again. The more you can do, the more valuable you become. This is a guy that is the absolute best punt returner in all of college football. And oh, by the way, he's a really solid wide receiver also. So this guy's a slot receiver. This guy can catch the football, and he's a punt returner. Is he a blazing fast wide receiver? No, but he does a lot of things well. And so Kyle Shanahan identified this guy as a player that can help them not only as a receiver, but also in the returns game. And so Dante Pettis is the selection. And maybe they thought the Packers would try to take him, and so they needed to get in front of Green Bay. Green Bay needed a receiver. You knew that was coming at some point. And they wanted to make sure that they got theirs. So there you have it. Let's go to the comment section. J. Camman says, I picked Mason Rudolph to go to the Chargers 48th overall. Are we getting close to 48? Yep, you are 45, 46, 47. You're 3 picks away. The Packers are on the board as we speak. Big Boy 301 says, who's your preference for this Skins pick? My bad if I missed it. Nope. Redskins traded back. Jonathan Lynch says, how do you feel about Justin Reed from Stanford going to the Redskins? I would have a problem with that because you gave away the opportunity to draft a safety in the 1st round, and then you come back and get one in the 2nd round. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So, no, I wouldn't be a fan of that. But I can tell you this much. Justin Reed is more of a slot than that of Derwin James. So that would make sense being that we lost our slot corner. But, no, I wouldn't want that. Your boss says, Raiders need to stop trading down. I'm getting tired of this BS. Too many good players to trade down. Should have took Landry at 41. I'm with you. They should have taken Jarvis Landry at 41. Or Jarvis Landry. Hear me. Harold Landry. I got my Vince Young going. Harold Landry at 41, but they didn't. So now the Green Bay Packers are on the board at 45, and that was quick. So I've got to think that this is a receiver. It wouldn't shock me if this is an Anthony Miller. I'm going with 2 receivers here. Either Anthony Miller or the receiver out of Texas A&M. Christian Kirk. Let's see who it is. Josh Jackson. I forgot all about him. I forgot all about Josh Jackson. But I thought they took care of corner in the 1st round. They just doubled down on the cornerback position, said to hell with it. We don't know if we got it right the first time, or we just going to keep throwing darts at the board. They got arguably 2 of the best corners in this entire draft. Still don't have no damn receiver, but they saying you ain't going to throw the football on us. Remember, they drafted Kevin King last season. Remember that. Now they got Jair Alexander, Josh Jackson, and Kevin King. They've got arguably the youngest and most talented secondary in all of football. Remember, they also drafted Josh Jones out of NC State as a safety. That's a really young, not to mention Clinton Dix that's still on his rookie contract. They've got the youngest and most talented secondary in all of football. We're going to see what happens. Boy, that one took me by surprise. After Jair Alexander being selected in the first round, I did not think they would double down on the position, but they said to hell with it. We're going to make sure we get this shit right this time. Atlas says, cut some slack, dude is nervous as F, I bet. Nah, I ain't cutting you. His name is Harold, Atlas. Harold. Okay? Harold. You can't F Harold up. Hey, y'all stop killing Vince like that. Y'all are stupid, man. Stupid. Stupid. All right. Let's see. Hey, look, y'all was filling me with Nate Burleson. Oh, we got another trade. Another trade. Chiefs come up. And the Chiefs said, look, man, we've been out of commission for too damn long. We didn't have a first round pick. We getting antsy back here. And let us get in this thing, man. So the Chiefs move up. And now they're going to get themselves in this draft. We'll see what they decide to do here as they come up. And they're starving to get into the action. And they're going to get into the fray here at 46 as they trade up. Let's see what they decide to come up. They got it from Cincinnati. So we'll see what the Chiefs are coming all the way up to get. My guess here, I'm trying to think about this Chiefs roster. Are there any good linebackers remaining? If there are any good linebackers, because Derek Johnson is no longer a Chief. Tamba Hali is no longer a Chief. I think linebackers got to be the move here. That's the first thought. Let me see. I'm trying to go down the list of positions for this Chiefs football team. They need a cornerback too. Marcus Peters is no longer there. I'm thinking this is a corner. And the compensation, the team swapped second-round picks. So the Bengals trade back 8 spots from 46 to 54. And then the two teams also switch third-round picks. So that's 22 spots. The Bengals move up in the third round from 100 to 78. But I'm thinking the Chiefs are coming up here to either get a corner, who I love, and he's still on the board, and he's in my top 23 cornerback, Isaiah Oliver. That's who I'm guessing they're coming to get, but it could be a linebacker as well. But Sean Mack says, my dog Nate Burleson. Yeah, your dog Nate Burleson was talking us to effing death. Okay, and I know that's your boy from the Good Morning Show. Reese says, Ronnie Barber looks good. Hopefully he'll have a gold jacket soon. He will get his eventually. But we know what he looks like. He still does games for Fox. So we knew he looked good anyway. Skinny Wild says, Geist time. Not yet. Sean Mack says, Kerryon Johnson is a good running back. He's a 20 carry back. Good pick. And the Lions need that kind of guy. And I think they're the type of team with Matthew Stafford. They're going to have a lot of gun runs. And that's what he's comfortable doing. And so I could see him fitting into Detroit really well. Jay Camman says, I hope you have a good pick in the second round, even though you traded it. I'm just happy that we now have a third round pick. So the Redskins, they did something smart here. I like that. Like it a lot. Your boss says, all of a sudden people are so high on running backs. Who's the best out of all of them? Well, like I told you, the running back position, there was going to be a run on backs. And we've seen pretty much all the running backs that were in that top group come off the board. We've seen Barkley. We've seen Penny. We've seen Jones. We've seen Chubb. We've seen Michelle. All gone. All right, 5 backs. I thought there were 6 big backs. Oh, and Johnson, 6 backs go. I thought there were 7. And the only guy in that group that's still available is Darius Geist. So he's the best of the backs remaining. And like I said, he was my second best back in the draft. So I think some teams have been turned off by some of his character. And I think that's what's keeping him on the board. And we'll see what the Redskins decide to do. Burgundy Fly Guy says that trade down was way better than any running back that fans may have wanted. Brilliant move. I'm with you. I love the trade back there by the Skins. I'm anxious to see what they do with that 57th overall pick that we picked up. And I'm even more anxious now because now we're in the third round. We're in the game. I was not happy about sitting on the bench in the third round. Now, hey, coaches just called us, told us to take off the warm-up. We going in the game, and I feel good about that. So either this is a corner or it's a linebacker of some sort for the Chiefs here. That's my guess. They did get a corner in the trade, and they did pick up David Amerson, but I don't trust him. Look at Priest Holmes, man. Priest Holmes. Looking clean. It's good to see these guys still staying in shape and looking good, man. Let's see who the Chiefs decide to select. Breeland speaks. I'm not going to lie to you. I have absolutely no idea who the hell Breeland Speaks is. I know he's a defensive lineman. I can't tell you the first thing about him. So that's the first guy that's been taken in the draft as a whole, first and second round, that I can't tell you anything about. Know nothing about Breeland Speaks, but Chiefs are high on him. And one thing I can say about the Kansas City Chiefs, say what you want about the Chiefs. They can identify defensive line talent. They've been snatching up good defensive linemen for about the last 7 years, all the way back to Dante Pettis. They don't miss too often in the draft when it comes to defensive linemen, and they seem to love shopping at the SEC store. Remember, they got the Mississippi State product a couple of years ago. Big kid, Jones. And he's playing good ball for them now. So we'll see what happens. The Arizona Cardinals are now on the board, though. And we'll see what they decide to do with their second-round pick. Archangel says, I remember Merton Hanks I used to hate how he did my Falcons back in the day. Reese says, Ronald Jones, good pick. Yeah, you're damn right it is. It's a really good pick. He wasn't my favorite back in the draft, but He's got one trait, and that's a damn good trait. Look at Aeneas Williams wearing that gold jacket, man. One of the best corners when I was growing up in the league. If Deion Sanders was one, Aeneas Williams was two in the league, man. Aeneas Williams, man. That dude was a hell of a football player. The Arizona Cardinals, they need a receiver. They need a corner. I would like to see Isaiah Oliver go here to the Arizona Cardinals. I really would like to see them take a cornerback here. Isaiah Oliver is my best available, and I'd love to see them take him. They go wide receiver, though. Christian Kirk, Texas A&M wide receiver, and that's a great move for them. They need all the help they can get at receiver. Larry Fitzgerald is probably on his last year, even though Larry looks like he could still play another 3 years if he wanted to. Christian Kirk also offers you some return ability, so you get some extra added value with Christian Kirk. He proved everybody wrong by running fast at the combine. A lot of people question his long-distance speed. He's, to me, the quintessential slot receiver in this draft. He makes contested catches. He's a hell of a route runner. I talked about him against UCLA early in the season in that epic comeback game from Josh Rosen. But he breaks dudes off, man. He's a tremendous, stellar route runner, and he can win. So that's a good pickup for the Arizona Cardinals. Vincent Cole says, hey, Lou, how about Anthony Miller for the Skins in the second round now? I don't know. I don't think we need a receiver right now. We still need to attack offensive line. We still need to attack cornerback. We still need to attack. There are so many different positions that we could attack. The pick is in for the Chargers. Sean Mack says, great pick by Green Bay as they take Josh Jackson. LaDainian Tomlinson coming out. Why you ain't wear your gold jacket, man? He said, no, I'm going to wear this tight blue jacket instead. This powder blue San Diego Chargers colored jacket instead. All right. See what the Daniel Thomason announces for the Chargers. Uchenna Nwosu out of USC has been really rising up draft boards. Mike Mayock swears by this guy, thinks he's one of the better edge guys in this draft as a linebacker. And so I've got more film study to do on him, but Mike Mayock swears by Uchenna Nwosu. So we're going to see what he brings to the table as an edge rusher. But the Chargers have, to me, one of the best tandems at outside linebacker or at the rush positions in Bosa and Ingram, and now they're just adding more to the mix. And I don't have a problem with that, because in this league, if you can get to the quarterback, you make life living hell for the other team. So we'll see what he is. I can't vouch for the pick because I got to watch more tape on Uchenna Nwosu. So Kevin says, so the Packers need a wide receiver, maybe Deion Kane and an edge, and they go with another corner. Remember, if you want your comment to be read, use the hashtag Louie T Live. So the Eagles come up for the first time in this draft. The Philadelphia Eagles looking to get in the fray as they come up. So number 49, get in front of the Dallas Cowboys to make a selection. And so we're going to see who these Eagles decide they want to select. So this is pretty interesting. Eagles looking to get up in the draft. I think this is for Darius Geis. I've heard rumors that they loved Geis in the first round. They traded out of the first round because you can't turn down an opportunity to pick up more picks, which I think 32 is the perfect spot to trade out of. And so they trade out. And now they sit in the second round, way back at the end of the second round, and they say to themselves, wow, the guy that we were going to take at 32 is still sitting here at 49. Let's go get him. So I think this is a running back. I could be wrong, because in order to trade in front of Dallas, you're thinking that it maybe needs to be a receiver of some sort, because the Cowboys, we all know, need a receiver. But I think this is for Darius Geis. That's just my opinion. We'll see what happens. Reese says, damn it, I wanted Josh Jackson. Well, got beat to the punch. You had a chance to take him. If you wanted him, you could have got him. But you went Ronald Jones. So Sean Mack says, Oliver is my number 1 rated cornerback. He was my number 1 rated cornerback as well. Jair Alexander, Alexander was second. They were right next to each other, I believe. Don't get me the line. I'm about to find out right now. Do not get me the line. Let's see what we got. Yeah, Isaiah Oliver was my number 1 rated corner as well. And someone's going to get him a good football player in Oliver. Zenny Dragon says, Packer Nation is loving the Jay Jackson pick. They went overkill on the cornerback position the last 2 years. They said, look, man, teams ain't throwing on us no more. Teams are done. That shit is dead. Dead, I tell you. Not throwing on us no more. BE says, hometown kid to the Cardinals. Love this pick. Larry is the perfect mentor for him to teach him how to be a pro and develop into a number 1 wide receiver. Jeff P says, think Philly takes Geis? I think so. That's who I'm guessing. It's Geis. Too Good for Madden says, Gruden is being dumb. I know a lot of these Raider fans are not happy with all of these picks. They're trading back and not making selections. It reminds me of a draft a few years ago. I think it was Reggie McKenzie's first draft, where he just kept trading back. And the Raiders are doing that again in this draft. Deshaun Taylor says, Geis or Ballage? I think it's a running back either way. Kalen Ballage, or I think it's Geis, though. I really think it's Geis. Who is this white guy? Should I know him? Is this David Akers? It looks like David Akers. Is that David Akers? Yeah, that's David Akers' ass. Looking like a damn Poindexter. Thought that was him. I'm about to say, who the hell is this white dude, man? I don't remember no white dude for the Eagles. But it's a kicker, man. That's why we didn't recognize him at first. But yeah. See what the Eagles do, man. I surmise that this is a running back. David Akers is up here talking cold, hard cash to these Cowboy fans. So it's going to take a little while for this pick to get made. And David is getting hyped. He's getting amped. He's giving them work. He's giving them work. But guess what? I don't give a shit, David. Just make the damn pick. Please. Thank you. All right, here we go. He about to make the damn selection finally. Did he say Dallas Goedert? Dallas Goedert is the pick. And you know why? Okay. Boy, the draft is so funny. All right. So this is why this makes so much sense. I forgot all about this. The Cowboys found out today that Jason Witten was retiring. And it's so funny because Jason Witten and Panthers tight end Greg Olsen both tried out for Monday Night Football to get one of the jobs in the booth. And whichever one of them got it, they were going to retire. And so Jason Witten got the job. And so he promptly then retired. Cowboys were caught off guard. And so the Eagles probably thought the Cowboys were going to look to replace. This one makes me sick to my stomach because Dallas Goedert is a Zach Ertz clone. He's the best pass-catching tight end in this draft, and it's not even close. And the fact that they get him and they already got Zach Ertz makes me want to throw up in my mouth. But it's a hell of a pickup. And the fact that they knew the Cowboys might be, and I don't know if that's who the Cowboys were going to select, but the Cowboys don't have a tight end now with Jason Witten retiring. Dallas Goedert might have been the pick. And so this is just a brilliant and genius move by the Eagles to get in front of them and get Dallas Goedert. So it's a hell of a move. Leaving the Cowboys high and dry. I mean, there's still other tight ends in this draft if they so choose. They could go in a number of directions. They still need a wide receiver as well. And there's still receivers available in this draft. So they got options. They can still go with I'm trying to think of any more tight ends. The tight end out of Oklahoma is still available. Mark Andrews. This would be a little early for him, but he's still available. They could also go with trying to think about all the receivers that have been taken and who's left. Let me go to my list and see who's actually still available at wide receiver and who the Cowboys might have on their list of guys. Anthony Miller is still available. Obviously, that's my guy. James Washington is still available. DJ Chark is still available. So there's some options at receiver. Michael Gallup is a guy that we've slept on all process long, but I know a lot of people are high on him. So there's some options for the Cowboys here at wide receiver. I like Ian Thomas a lot at tight end. Again, I think it might be a little early for him. Same with Troy Fumagalli. But in my mind, it's going to be some kind of offensive skill player, I believe, for the Dallas Cowboys here at 50. Eagles really dicked them, though, jumping in front of them. See what you guys have to say. Sean Mack says, who in the hell is Breeland Speaks? I don't know. You got me. Here comes the Cowboys selection, though. At 50, the Dallas Cowboys select tackle Connor Williams. That was a little bit of a surprise, but I think they're going to end up kicking him inside the guard. Or they could keep him out. They could keep him at tackle. And, you know, that's got to be awesome for him. I don't know if he's from the Texas area or not, but he played his college football at Texas, and to stay in Texas, that's awesome. So I know Sean Mack is loving this. He would love it even more because that's his guy. He would have loved it even more if he would have been a Cleveland Brown. But DMV Price says, I like Naheem Hines for the Redskins. He can be that X-factor player the Redskins lack at the running back position. think he's too close to what we already have in Chris Thompson. Even though I know he's a lot more explosive than him. Captain Spartan says, Breeland Speaks is the guy Ole Miss recruited to replace Robert Kimdiche. Got you. Sean Mack says, damn. Effing Cowgirls took my guy. So, Akers went in on the Cowgirls. He says, he said, oh, Akers went in on the Cowgirls fans, didn't he? Laughing my ass off. Yeah, he did, man. He gave him some work. He damn sure did. Trolled the hell out their ass. Lil Lion says, do you think that the Saints could get a quarterback in this draft, or will the Saints wait? If I think they're going to get a quarterback. I think they like a guy like Luke Falk or Kyle Lauletta later on in the draft. I think they're going to pull the trigger on one of those guys. A guy that looks a lot like Drew Brees is Logan Woodside. So it'll be interesting to see. And you remember last year what happened to the Cowboys when they had an injury at tackle to their left tackle, and how they got abused over there for 6 sacks in the Falcons game by old Dirty Dreads, Nasty Dreads himself, Adrian Claiborne. They said, hey, enough of that shit. We're not doing that again. So they draft themselves a tackle in Connor Williams that can play guard, but I've always been in the mindset of, until you prove you can't, I'm going to give you a chance to prove that you can. So I'm expecting them to give him a shot to play right tackle, and we'll see what happens. The Bears are now on the clock. The pick is in, and we'll see who they decide to take. Burgundy Fly Guy says, I agree with the Uchenna Owosu pick. He was a leader on that defense and has a nose for the football, great playmaker. It's a good pickup for them. I got to watch more tape on him, but Mike Mayock swears by him. And if Mike says he's good, then he's good by me. Buddy Christ says, what do you think about Royce Freeman from Oregon? Would it be too high for the Skins to pick him up in the 3rd instead of Geis in the 2nd? I'm not a Royce Freeman guy, so I think it's way too early for Royce Freeman. You probably could get him in the 6th, 5th, 6th, 7th round. I don't think Royce Freeman is on anybody's radar right now. Your boss says, Kirk to the Chiefs, I'm scared. Nope. Kirk ended up in Arizona. So let's go down to the newest comments and see what you guys have to say. BE says, I love AZ to Kirk to AZ, and Larry is the perfect mentor for him. Now let's go to LSU DBU and take Dante Jackson in the 3rd. He'd be a great mentor. Pat P would be a great mentor for the fellow Tiger if you could get your hands on him. RJ Broussard says, can Connor play guard? Yeah, he can play guard. And I'm thinking when it's all said and done, that's probably where he's going to end up. But I think they're going to give him a chance to play tackle first. And if he doesn't work there, they can kick him inside and he'll be an asset to you at guard. Mo L says, who we taking at 59? Do we take Geis if available or a guard? I think that they still want to I think they're going to take Geis still. That was the plan from the jump. I think they're still going to take Geis. But at this point, there's not a specific player that I'm keying in on like I was last year when I wanted an edge rusher, or I wanted Kamara, or I wanted Marlon Mack. It's not that situation. There's not a specific player that I'm looking for right now. So a guard, a running back, a corner. Isaiah Oliver would be nice. That's wishful thinking though. But let's see. Sean Mack says, when Connor Williams is in multiple Pro Bowls, remember how badly I wanted him. My Browns blew a massive chance right there. Hey, I'm documenting that, man. It's documented. It's noted. Time stamped. I know how you feel about him. We can have that conversation 5 years from now. Raider Ben says, who the Raiders gonna take? I don't know. Are the Raiders even gonna make a pick, or are they gonna trade back again? Hard to say. Once we get closer to their pick, see who comes off the board, then we kind of have a feel for what they'll do. Peanut Tillman, looking good. He just retired a couple of years ago, so you knew he was still going to be in some kind of shape. And if I'm not mistaken, he's still in football in some capacity, man. He'll always be remembered for the peanut punch, man. His contribution to the game cannot be undersold. He passed on a punch that will live in infamy and in this league for many years to come. Anthony Miller is the pick for the Bears. Damn, I love that pick. They are really hooking Mitchell Trubisky up, man. Mitchell Trubisky is getting him some studs. First, Allen Robinson. Then they went out and got him some pure unadulterated speed from Atlanta with the smaller receiver. And now they go out and get him Anthony Miller, who is probably the most well-rounded receiver in this draft. Not a speed burner, but the best set of hands in this draft, if you ask me. The most competitive receiver in this draft, if you ask me. And he's a dog. Anthony Miller is a dog. And the Bears just got Mitchell Trubisky yet another weapon. And that catch right there that y'all looking at, that's on Mike Hughes, man. That's on Mike Hughes. Anthony Miller is my guy, man. He was my top-rated receiver in this draft. And they get him at 51. That's a hell of a pickup. Hell of a pickup. Let's see now. Kevin says, Maurice Hurst is off a lot of teams' boards. Will he get drafted? Yeah, he's going to get drafted. It's just when is the question. If you're a team like Indianapolis, I'd pull the trigger on him just because you need talent. Komoko Torre out of Rutgers. My man Andrew Kim can tell us all about him, as Andrew Kim is currently at Rutgers. So y'all want to know about Komoko Torre, ask my man Andrew Kim if he's happens to be in the chat discussion. He can tell you all about this guy. I know he's long as hell just by looking at him. Anwar Muhammad says, no Bears. He said, no, Bears took Anthony Miller. I wanted him for my Ravens. That's how it goes, man. Deshaun Taylor says, can we get Geis? If we can get Geis, can't get Geis, can we get Kalen Ballage? I don't know if they love Ballage or not. He'd definitely be an intriguing prospect, but I don't know if he's a bell cow, which is what we're looking for at the running back position. Mo L says, if Geis is gone, who do you want at 59? I told you, I don't have a preference. If I don't necessarily want Geis at 59, it doesn't really make me one bit of difference. As long as we address a position of need with a quality football player, I'm more excited about the fact that we picked up a third-round pick than anything else. We're going to add another quality football player to the mix. Like I said, if Isaiah Oliver is still on the board, I don't see how he would get past Carolina at 54. If Tampa Bay's smart, he wouldn't get past them at 55 if he's still there. Hell, if I'm Oakland, I don't know if I let him get past them at 57. So we'll see what happens. But I'm open to anything. I'm open to corner. I'm open to tight end. I'm open to defensive line. Again, I'm open to safety. I'm open to offensive line, which is a big need. I'm open to running back. I'm open to just about everything, man. Nothing's out of bounds right now at 59. Sean Mack says, Peanut Tillman is in FBI training, bro. Oh, really? He looks good, man. He looks like he's training for the FBI. That's awesome. That is awesome. Sean Mack says, my number 2 rated wide receiver, Deshaun Hamilton, is still on the board. It'd be nice if my Browns could get him. He'll be there in the third round, I think. I don't see him going in the second. I think he'll be there in the third. Tyler Rodriguez says, freaking stupid Cowboys. They must have taken the guy that you wanted, or you didn't want them to take him at all, if you're a Cowboys fan. I'm not sure which is the case. Captain Spartan says Chris Ballard is having a downgrade draft compared to last year. I think what he's trying to do is he's just getting a bunch of guys that he deems good football players. He's not looking to hit home runs. If he were looking to do that, he wouldn't have traded back in the draft. So he's looking to get quality football players to fill up. They need bodies in Indy, believe it or not. So, I mean, it was hard to duplicate what they did last year. They got a bunch of top-notch football players last year. Seemed like at every turn they were getting a top-notch football player. You couldn't expect them to do that again this year. Hayden Keene says, what do you think the Giants will do in the third round with 66 and 69? Another offensive lineman. I think one of those picks has to be another offensive lineman. And then maybe you turn your attention to the cornerback position at that point. Maybe there's a quarterback you like. Maybe Mason Rudolph is the guy you like, and you spend the pick on him there. You know, there are countless opportunities. But again, we got to see what's left on the board before we can project that far out. We could be talking about guys now, and then 5 picks from now, both of those guys are gone. So we'll see. Here comes Rondé to make another pick for the Bucs. And the Buccaneers select cornerback MJ Stewart out of North Carolina. So obviously, teams are not as high on Isaiah Oliver as I am, as my man Sean Mack is, because MJ Stewart goes before our guy, Isaiah Oliver, who's still on the board. And I don't even know who MJ Stewart is. So that'll be a guy that I'll learn about when I get to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to break down. So you can't ask me about this guy, Reed, because I have no idea who he is. No idea who MJ Stewart is. I don't even know if I wrote him down in my combine notes. I don't even know if he was invited to the combine. I'm going to pull out my pad, though, and see if I had him written down as a participant at the combine as someone worth noting. But I usually don't forget names, and I don't recall seeing his name. So, no, I didn't write his name down at all. So, I don't know that guy. So, he'll be a brand new prospect for me to look at when I get to Tampa Bay's draft. Archangel says, still a possibility that we get who you thought we may have gotten in the first round in Maurice Hurst. Yeah, he's still there. A lot of people were going to be scared off by that heart condition. I would be scared off too. Because like I said, I watched the Saints defensive tackle Nick Fairley have to sit out an entire year this year with a heart condition. So that's a little nerve-wracking. TJ Houshmandzadeh, remember that? Houshmandzadeh. TJ Houshmandzadeh from the NFL fantasy draft commercial. He looked exactly the same, man. Damn. He looked like he ain't aged a bit. Jesse Bates III, a guy that I really liked in this draft. I had him rated as my number 4 safety in this draft. After the 2 big names, obviously Fitzpatrick and James, then I had Stanford safety. I had Stanford safety Reed, and then I had Jesse Bates III. Jesse Bates, and really, it was Bates and Reed tied for 4th. To be honest, 3rd really, because both of them had the identical, exact same score. Jesse Bates has some ball skills, man. He's a playmaker. Not the most physical tackler, but if you're talking pure free safety, he might be the purest free safety in this draft. Jesse Bates. That's a good pickup for the Cincinnati Bengals, as the Carolina Panthers are now on the board. If I'm the Panthers, trying to think who they took in the first round. Did they take a corner yet? Who was the pick in the first round? DJ Moore was their pick in the first round. So if I'm the Panthers, man, there's a corner with length sitting right here, and Isaiah Oliver, I'd make the pick. Jordan Gross. Boy, it was crazy. As soon as he retired, man, the dude dropped like 70 pounds immediately, man. He's in great shape, and he stayed in great shape. It's funny because when you listen to offensive linemen talk, they like, look, man, we're not supposed to really be this big. It's like not healthy for you to be walking around carrying 310 pounds of weight. And he got rid of his weight so quick. Cornerback Dante Jackson. Sorry, BE. Your man Dante Jackson is gone. The Panthers snatched him up. Quick twitch cornerback here, man. Dude can run. All right, dude is a fast-moving, flying corner that is feisty. He tackles. Boom. As you can see there, he'll hit you. Can make some plays on the football. He's so explosive. Watch him take the ball away here. No, that ain't the play. There's a play where he literally takes the ball away from the receiver, man. It's fun to watch dudes at the cornerback position just be thieves, man. Just take the rock away. Ouija HTTR, hey man, appreciate the super chat, man. Really, really do appreciate it. Says, glad to have the Louie T Network to watch while I'm at work so I can get that good draft analysis. Hey man, I appreciate you, bruh. Thanks for the super chat, man. Without a doubt, man. Really appreciate it. That's a super chat. Appreciate you, man. All right. Redskins are now 3 picks away. Patriots are now on the clock. They've, in the draft, already selected a running back and an offensive lineman. Now I think it's time for them to take a corner. So it seems like everybody that comes up, I'm trying to put Isaiah Oliver on them, but everyone that has come up has needed a corner. And you've seen corners come off the board, just not the one that I like. We saw the Buccaneers take a corner. We saw the Carolina Panthers take a corner. So we've seen guys come off the board, not just not the one that I keep trying to put on these teams, but nonetheless, cornerback has had a run on it. Let's see. Zenny Dragon says, do you believe the Packers think that the better pass coverage can help to lead to more sacks? Absolutely. But you still want guys that can get to the quarterback. You know, they just gave Nick Perry some big money a couple off seasons ago. They need to address pass rushing. And maybe they'll do that later on in the draft. But if you can cover teams up, if you could cover guys up for 4 seconds, that pass rush is going to hit home. So that's one way of looking at it. You know, at some point you get tired of being passed on. And right now, they're tired of being thrown on. And so the Green Bay Packers have went all out for their secondary in the last 2 years. Josh Jones, Kevin King. Now this year, they doubled down on the position once again, this time taking 2 corners, Jair Alexander, who they trade up for, and then they trade up for Josh Jackson. So they're not messing around. DMV Pride says, Jesse Bates or Justin Reed for the Redskins. Well, Bates off the board. Reed still there. I wouldn't really be too keen on that. But, you know, if that's what they wanted to do, that's what they wanted to do. All right. Lorenzo Simpson says, I can't believe Geis is still available for the Skins. So the Patriots traded up. I didn't even know it was a trade. Trade. Patriots trade up to 56. Bucks trade back to 63rd overall. And also pick up an additional 4th round pick. So Patriots have their eye on a guy. And they needed to come up in front of the Raiders. So I would guess that this is either a wide receiver, a corner, or some sort of rusher. If I had to narrow it down to one, I would say it's a corner here. Because the Raiders desperately need cornerback help. So, Deion Branch is coming out. Who is this other big gentleman with him? I feel like I should know his name, but I don't. I know Deion. I don't know the other dude. And I feel like I should. He looked like he's relatively young, like he just came out the league. I don't know who the hell that is. Okay, Deion look like he about to talk us to goddamn death, boy. All right, so you gonna let the big man talk. I didn't think he was gonna let him talk at all. Ty Warren that's who that is. Ty Warren, I had no idea. Ty Warren was huge for them in a couple of those Super Bowl runs. Couldn't have told you. I couldn't have picked that man out of a lineup. Cornerback Duke Dawson. So I told you it was a corner. Still not the one that I said, but hey, look, man. Corner, there's a run on corner, so if you need one, you better get you one because they coming off the board fast, as you can see. We done had 3 straight picks, all corners. 3 out of the last 4 corners. The Carolina corner, Jackson out of LSU. Now Duke Dawson. It's a run on corners, man. We've seen at least 5 corners go in this round alone. Josh Jackson, I think, kicked it off in this round for the corners. And ever since he went, the avalanche is like the floodgates open at the cornerback position. Lorenzo Simpson says, I can't believe Geis is still available for the Skins. I'm telling you, man, I think teams soured on him after that whole fiasco with the combine, and a lot of teams think he's high maintenance. Like, here they're talking about it right now.
He visited teams as he visited several of them. It became clear he was more of a second or even a third rounder. Talking to sources, a couple of reasons why. He was described to me as high maintenance.
Didn't I just say the word high maintenance? Didn't I tell you? High maintenance was the word that I've heard used with him. And teams don't like guys that they got to babysit emotionally. They say he's emotionally very unstable. And I don't even know what that means. But I keep hearing that he's high maintenance emotionally. And teams don't like dealing with dudes that they can't trust to keep their emotions intact. Almost like dealing with a female. It's almost, I get that sense that they feel like he's a little bit too emotional, sort of like a female. And I think that's kind of why you got those questions at the combine. I think they asked him those questions. But, Willie about to talk us to damn death, okay? Willie about to be up here. He going to tell all the moms Happy Mother's Day. He going to talk us to death for about 20 minutes. So y'all saddle in. You know Willie about to talk us to death, okay? But it's a draft tradition. So y'all know what's coming. So don't get upset. Don't be cussing out old man Uncle Willie. All right? Because you know Willie about to tell moms Happy Mother's Day. You know he about to talk us to death for 5 minutes. Let him do his thing. Enrique Valencia says, Chris Ballard equals cheap Ryan Grigson. Horrible draft so far. Hey, don't do the man like that. Grigson was terrible. You ain't done nothing like draft Bjorn Vorner, have you? All right? You ain't done that yet. P.J. Hall, defensive tackle out of Sam Houston State, is the selection. Again, don't know who this guy is. I'm sorry, Raiders fans. I can't help you with this one. But I will break him down on the draft wrap-up series. You can be assured of that. But I can't help you with that one. Sean Mack says, it's all good, dog. You and I are right more times than not, so whoever gets Oliver will be thanking their lucky stars. Burgundy Fly Guy says, MJ Stewart, saw him on film. Didn't get a lot of looks because he's the best on the team at cornerback. Not sure if he's a second-round talent, though. So there you go with the cornerback MJ Stewart out of North Carolina from Burgundy Fly Guy. Again, I can't tell you anything about it. Jeff P says, hoping Geis at 59 and Ronnie Harrison in the third. Jesse Bates, Sean Mack says, I used to watch Jesse Bates the third in high school. He's from Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is only 35 minutes from my house. He was the number 2 free safety in this draft class for Sean Mack's liking. So that's interesting. I had him as, top for third, but he's a damn good safety, man. Damn good safety. Buddy Christ says, TJ, who's your mama? Yeah, I remember that. BE says, damn it, I wanted to take Dante, the Cards to take Dante. Yeah, he's gone, and it's a run on corners. John Perez says, are you upset we traded down? No, I am actually excited about that. Terrence B says, do you think New England is going to get Geis? Well, they didn't. They came up for a corner, so no. And I didn't think they were coming up for a running back. Remember, they drafted Sony Michel in the first round, if you forgot. So they weren't going to double down on the running back position. Remember, they got Jeremy Hill in free agency, and they still got Rex Burkhead and James White on the roster. So they've got running backs for days. They weren't going to draft another one. It's all good, JP. Burgundy Fly Guy says, keep saying Oliver's name so no one will take him, LOL. Hey, man, it's crazy. I'm shocked that every other corner except Isaiah Oliver is coming off the board. I mean, the only thing that I don't love about Oliver is he lacks intensity. Like, he's not a guy that's, excited. It just looks like like I said on my breakdown of him, you got to use the defibrillators to get him excited, but the guy's technically sound, man. The dude makes plays. He looks for the football. He tackles. He's long. There's so much to like about Isaiah Oliver. I'm just shocked that no one's taken him yet. Falcons pick is in, which means the Redskins are officially on the clock right now. Mo L says, are we higher on Isaiah Oliver or Geis at 59? I think they're higher on Geis. I just think they felt like no one was going to take him. They could move back and get him. I think the slide of Geis stops here. I can tell you this much. If he's truly high maintenance, we're not the organization to deal with that. We don't have a good enough infrastructure to deal with the guy that may be high maintenance in the locker room. So if they really feel like he's that dude and he's not what you need in your locker room, we don't need to take him because we don't have the infrastructure to deal with it. And you know how I feel. I don't want Boy Scouts. I want tough-nosed, hard-nosed football players, but and he is that. But I also don't want problems in the locker room. So we will see. Sean Mack says, my Browns have no third-round pick unless we trade out. You can change that really easily. Terrence B says, I'm waiting for my Texans to pick. Yeah, man. It sucks when you got to sit in timeout, don't it? And y'all had to sit in timeout for a long time. A long time. Vincent Cole says, why is Ronnie Harrison falling? Well, I didn't. Oh, Mike. That's my boy, Iron Mike. Oh, that's my guy. For the 757. Mike, hold it down for me, baby. Atlanta Falcons about to make this pick, man. 757, stand up. Mike Vick in the house. Let them know, Mike. The Michael Vick experience. What y'all know about that? The Michael Vick experience. About to make this pick for the Falcons at 58. Here we go. Falcons select. Damn, there it is. Isaiah Oliver. Right before us. Well, that takes that off the board. I don't think the Redskins are going to take him anyway, but that option is now removed from the board. Falcons just got themselves a good football player, man. Damn. A real good football. Some teams are going to be smacking themselves in the face. All these teams that just took corners over Isaiah Oliver, They're going to regret that. All of these Dante Jacksons and MJ Stewarts and all of these dudes that just went, they're going to regret that. They're going to regret not. Watch them turn and locate. Watch them turn and locate that football. Watch them turn and locate that football. These corners don't look for the football. Well, this young man does. Watch him come back for that football, man. And his tape was so clean. Watch this. This is my favorite knockaway right here. Nope, give me that. Cookies. Cookies. Let me get that. Ooh. Man, they got themselves a good football player, man. Damn. Anyway, Damn Twin says, you surprised no Isaiah Oliver yet with all these corners going off the board? I am. Yeah, I was too. Well, he's gone now. Redskins pick is in. I think this is Darius Geis. But if it's not Geis, it could be an offensive lineman. Those are the two positions I think the Redskins are looking to target here. And let me check my board and see if there are any offensive linemen of note left in the draft as we speak. A lot of them have been taken at this point. Taylor Hearn out of Clemson, Sam Jones out of Arizona State are some viable options at guard if the Redskins were looking to attack that right now. I think there's better value than both of those guys, though. I wouldn't take either one of them right now. Desmond Harrison out of West Georgia is an intriguing name. Who this guy they got walking up here? Let me see your face. That look like, that ain't Gary Clark. That look like Gary Clark. Damn, Gary got more hair than the last time I seen him. Gary aging well. I'm like, goddamn, Gary had a bald head the last time I saw him. See what the Redskins take. Damn, what is he reciting, a poem? Well, you know he got to let him have it because they probably booing the draws off him. I got the TV muted, so I can't hear it. There you go. Darius Geis. Told you. That was the plan all along. And I think the Redskins sensed that no one was going to take him. We can trade back because he's got Scarlet S written all over him. And so I knew that they thought they could get him, move back and still get him. Nobody wanted him. And we got ourselves a good football player there in Darius Geis. And what did I tell you Redskin fans out there? I know you don't want to hear this from me, and we've been talking about it for the last 48 hours. There was a plan in place before the draft started. The plan was, and I'm going to tell you right now, he wasn't explosive in 2017 like he was in 16. You want to see explosion from Darius Geis? Go watch his 2016 tape against Texas A&M. You want to see explosion from him? You want to see him run by guys. And remember, he was injured last year. So you saw tough guy Darius Geis last year. I'm telling you right now, if we get the 2016 Darius Geis, we got a home run threat. We officially have a home run threat. If we get the 2017 Darius Geis, then we're not getting a home run threat, but we're getting a damn good football player still, okay? He was my second rated back in this draft, and this is a hell of a pick for the Redskins. So you got to feel good about that if you're a Redskins fan. But the plan all along was Daron Payne and Darius Geis. I told you that from the jump. I didn't want to believe it because there was more talent on the board in the first round, but you had to know that Geis was going to be the pick for the Redskins if he were there, and he was there. And I don't give a shit about the temperamental stuff. If the guy can play football, I want him on my football team. Let's hope that all of that stuff that they were talking about, and I've heard him talk, he seems like a well-rounded, grounded guy, came from a rough upbringing, and it seems like football was his salvation, and I hope that same energy is continued as he's now watched the Redskin. But we got the second best back in this draft. I'm convinced. So you're not going to make me feel bad about the pick. I love it. How you Redskin fans feel about that? I want to know. I think we just got the second best back in this draft. Let's see. All right. Sean Mack says, hell yeah, they're going to regret taking not taking Oliver. Buddy Christ says, now it's time for a safety. Chop Shop says, Skins better take Geis, and they did. J. Camman says, perhaps Des Bryant will take over for Chris Collinsworth on Sunday Night Football, and the Cowboys will be 4 for 4. The Pittsburgh Steelers pick is in, and I wouldn't be shocked if here comes Rod Woodson to make the pick. I'm thinking here. It wouldn't shock me if they went linebacker here. Linebacker, safety is still a question, even though they addressed that in the first round. Can never have too many. Offensive line, I think, is a bigger issue for them, though. So a tackle here. A tackle like maybe Orlando Brown or Okafor from Western Michigan wouldn't shock me. James Washington, wide receiver out of Oklahoma State, is the pick. I like James Washington a lot. And I forgot. I keep forgetting things. They traded one of their receivers yesterday, Martavis Bryant, to the Raiders, which we didn't talk nearly enough about because of the Redskins situation yesterday. But James Washington, he's a stud, man. I think he got a bad rap because he looks like a running back. He's got a running back build, but the dude is better than people give him credit for. He's a build-up speed guy. He's not going to burn anybody, but if you let him build up speed, he will step on your toes and then run by you. So that's a good pickup. This is the second year in a row the Steelers have gotten a tough guy at receiver. Last year was Juju Smith-Schuster, and I poo-pooed the pick, and he turned out to be one of the best rookie wide receivers in the league last year. They doubled down on that this year with James Washington, and he's just as tough, just as physical as Juju Smith-Schuster was last year. Not the same size. Smith-Schuster 6'2", Washington 6 or 5'11", but similar stature. Both of them right around 205, 215 pounds, in that neighborhood. So it's a good pickup for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ralph Vest says, who do you want us to get here in the end? I told you it was Geis. I wanted it to be Geis. I didn't have a problem if it wasn't Geis. If it was an offensive lineman, if it was a corner, if it was whomever, I would have been fine. But I told you the plan all along going into the draft was first pick, Payne, second pick, Geis. J. Camman says, hope the Redskins don't upset you this time. Nope. The fact that they traded back and picked up a third-round pick, I was all good. I was kosher. Archangel says, feeling like the Cookie Monster with that pick. Yum, yum. It's yum, yum, eat 'em up. Yum, yum, eat 'em up. It's yum, yum, eat 'em up. Love Isaiah Oliver, man. Hayden Keene says, who are you thinking for the Giants? We're getting closer and closer, but we ain't there yet. Kevin says, Sam Hubbard to the Pack. He seemed like a damn Green Bay Packer. I'm going to tell you right now, he ain't what you want as an edge rusher. I mean, it ain't a lot of stuff out there left, though. This is a really weak draft class at edge rusher. So, all right, you've got Arden Key left, Dorrance Armstrong Jr., Josh Sweat, and Sam Hubbard all left as edge rushers in this draft, along with Josh Holland out of Auburn. So it ain't a lot of stuff left at edge rusher. Hubbard might be the safest pick of that group. Safest, but not the most explosive nor dynamic. Terrence B says, you got Geis. We did indeed. JP says, hell yeah, Darius Geis to the Redskins. Your boss says, Geis to the Skins gives Bruce Allen a break. Playoffs coming soon for you guys. I hope. Buddy Christ says, Geis in the 3rd round pick. Can't complain about that. Hey, buddy, you damn right. You're damn right you can't complain about that. And that's what I was saying about Daron Payne in the 1st round. I would have been a lot more accepting of the pick of Daron Payne if it would have been attached with an additional pick. But him by himself at 13 over those guys that were there, I just didn't think that was good enough value for the 13th overall pick. But Geis in the 3rd rounder, are you kidding me? That's how you do it. Bruce, and look, I kill them when they F up, but when they do right, you got to give guys their just due. And Bruce and Doug Williams and company deserve a pat on the back for flipping that 44th overall and flipping it into Geis and a 3rd round pick. That's genius, pure genius on their part. John Perez says, hey, we got our man. I'm so happy. Spectacular Pooh says, I know Geis is going to be pissed, but you better hope the reports about him are not true, because if they were, you're going to see why the Eagles passed on him twice. Well, we're going to find out. We are going to find out. Jags on the clock. Mark Brunell to announce the selection. We'll see what the Jaguars do. They took Taven Brown, one of my favorite players in this draft. They took him in the 1st round. Dying to see what they do for an encore. I think this is a receiver. Let's see what they do. DJ Chark out of LSU. I knew it would be a receiver. After losing Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns in the offseason, they needed to replenish the position. DJ Chark comes off the board, and now they got themselves a certified burner in that receiving group with DJ Chark. That dude was straight running by cats in the SEC, just blowing by dudes in the SEC, man. I watched him blow by Carlton Davis of Auburn, who's still on the board if you're looking for a cornerback. Carlton Davis is still on the board for a team looking for a big, long, rangy corner. But I watched him blow past Alabama. Minka Fitzpatrick and company blew right by them like they were standing still. This dude is a big ball of speed, just explosive as the day is long, man. This dude can fly. So DJ Chark, going to be a problem for them teams in the AFC North, or South, excuse me, faux show. Atlas says, slow down, Lou. I'm told there's another investigation going on right now. Not sure what it's about. Probably not good. Hey, look. At the end of the day, football players, some of them are going to have issues off the field. You can't have a bunch of Boy Scouts in your locker room. As long as he ain't out here slapping around women, committing felonies out here on these streets. As long as he's a good guy, a good human being. Look, he can be as temperamental as he wants, and they can talk about his character as far as this guy being a little moody or whatever the case may be, high maintenance as they put it. If this guy's a good football player, I'm good with it. As long as he ain't doing anything to embarrass the Redskins organization and himself, I'm good with it, man. If he's a good football player, then I'm all for it. Let's see who this guy is. Keith Miller. Oh, I think his name is actually pronounced Millard. I remember him back in the day as a dude. I think he had a season where he had damn near 20 sacks in one year, man. Yeah, white dudes getting after the quarterback, man. That's a lost art. And ain't a bunch of those no more. I think the last good one we had was Jared Allen. Brian O'Neill tackle out of Pitt. He's an athletic marvel. Used to be a basketball player. A little light in the trunks. But dude can move. And you know what this reminds me of? The last time they went to the Pitt store. And I know most Vikings fans will tell you, they did not have a good experience the last time they went to the Pitt store for a tackle. And he looked a lot like Brian O'Neill, man. Brian O'Neill ran a 4.82, as you can see. He was a freak at the combine. Dude's athletically gifted. Like I said, ex-basketball player. Dude can move. It reminds me of when they went out and got, what was the tackle name that, boy, Vikings fans couldn't stand him. Look, they even gave the man a jet sweep for a touchdown. Look at that. Dude's an athletic tackle, man. I'm trying to think of that tackle that they had with the dreads that was just awful for them. And I thought he was going to be so good. I was so wrong about him. Man, was he bad. Y'all know who I'm talking about, though. That came from Pitt like 4 years ago. Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the board. Cloud says, got to deal with Zeke, Barkley, and Geis. But we do have the number one run defense, so you do. That is a fact. The division is lit at running back now. Everybody in the division has an elite running back now. So we can go ahead and take that off the board now as the Redskins finally get a guy that's worth having at running back. All right. J. Camman says, I know you said he wasn't falling, but a lot of running backs went before him, so I hope it all works out for you. I'm glad the Redskins took a running back in any case. It was a need for sure. He fell. Like, when I was getting that question, it was a matter of preference. You know, when I started getting that question from you guys, only 5 backs had went off the board at that point. And then after that, we got Kerryon Johnson as the 6th. Should he have already probably come off the board? Probably so. But at the end of the day, it's the Redskins' benefit. I like the pick. John Perez says, in the words of the Black Eyed Peas, I got that feeling tonight's going to be a good night. We're going to see. Hayden Key Keen says, do you like Arden Key? I like Arden Key. I don't love him. I don't think he's as explosive, and I think his combine and his pro day showed that. He didn't have an explosive 40. He didn't have an explosive vertical or broad jump. He's just not explosive to me. But he's long, and he knows how to get to the quarterback. So there is a place in the league for him, for sure. Corey Fitterman says, finally our Redskins got a running back, and I'm like you, I hope we get this 2016 version of Geis. Look, if we get that Geis, not the one that was banged up and wanted to show everybody he was a tough guy in 2017. And I like the fact that he was able to play through injury. Love it. But he wasn't the same explosive Geis. 2016 Geis, this dude was running by dudes, man. He looked like he ran a legit 4-4. Last year's Geis looked like he was more of a 4-5 back. So I'm anxious to see who we get. I hope we get a mixture of both. Lorenzo Simpson says, I told you yesterday, bro. Geis, that you did. That you did. Deron Johnson says, what's up, Louie? I'm so glad my Ravens got a QB. Hey, man, I'm anxious to see how that goes. I kind of feel bad for Joe because the minute Joe throws a back-breaking pick or has one of those games where he's got a 33.7 passer rating, they're going to be calling for Lamar Jackson. So the Colts trade up 3 spots in the draft with the Browns. So I'll go ahead and hit the draft button as the Colts come up. And now they acquire a 6th-round pick from the Indianapolis Colts to the Browns in exchange for moving back 3 spots into the 3rd round. So we'll see what the Indianapolis Colts do to end the 3rd round. So now, Sean Mack, you got a 3rd-round pick, brother. Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the board with the 2nd-to-last pick or the penultimate pick of the 2nd round. And there's Carlton Davis. I just mentioned his name. Carlton Davis, cornerback out of Auburn, is the pick. One of the last few long, rangy corners in this draft. I like his physicality. I think he's going to make a hell of a safety one day. I told anybody that would listen on the breakdown of Carlton Davis that I think he is the reincarnation of Malcolm Jenkins. He does not look for the football in the air. That was one of my big knocks on him on my breakdown. I love it when he gets his hands on guys at the line of scrimmage. He's very physical. But if you beat him off the line of scrimmage, he does not have the makeup speed to get back into the play. When he sees man and sees ball, he's dangerous. And he's physical. He tackles. That's why I think he can make the conversion to safety. If it doesn't work at corner for him, because I love him underneath. The further away he gets from the line of scrimmage, the more of a liability that he is because he doesn't locate the football. But the closer he is to the line of scrimmage, the more of a football player this guy is. He's physical. He tackles, makes plays on the football. It's when he's running 20, 25, 30 yards down the field. He doesn't trust his speed, and for good reason, because he doesn't have makeup speed. He panics. He doesn't look for the football. He face guards, and he picks up PIs. So if you can keep this guy, and if they're playing Tampa 2 in Tampa, he's going to be a great addition to their football team. Colts pick is in to round out the second round. Anxious to see what they decide to do. Sean Mack says, I think wide receiver James Washington is overrated. I like him. Rodney Ray says, day 2 with this trade back in Geis is already looking better than day 1. Indeed. I agree, Rodney. So they got Brackett coming out to announce the pick here. Ex-linebacker for the Colts. I believe that's Brackett. Don't get me lying. I think that's him. Yep, Gary Brackett. I thought that was him. So, boy, I was a Madden head back in the day. Boy, I know how all these players look. And you know I'm just an NFLer anyway. Colts select Tyquan Lewis, Ohio State, defensive end. If you want to know about him, talk to my man, Sean Mack. He's an Ohio State thing. He can tell you all about Tyquan Lewis and what he brings to the table. So, that's the conclusion of the second round. Now we're going to make our way into the third round. And the Oakland Raiders are going to get us started off in the third round. And while we take this quick break, I'm going to get me some wine. And I'm back like cooked crack. And I got me a little bit of a beverage to accompany me. And so let's take a look back at this second round, man. It was a very eventful one. A bunch of corners came off the board in the second round. I mean, we saw a run on the cornerback position and a run on the running backs. There are absolutely no big name backs left in this draft now. Let me see who I have rated as the next highest back in the draft after all of the running backs have essentially been snatched up. Let's see who's left. So right now left, Kalen Ballage. Now you're getting into that next group. Kalen Ballage, Nyheim Hines. You're looking at John Kelly out of Tennessee. You're looking at, who else is on this list? Mark Walton of Miami. Those are the backs you're looking at now. And I think you'll start to see those guys come a little bit later on. I don't think you're going to see too many backs in the third round. I think you start to see those guys come off the board in the fourth round. You may see a Nyheim Hines because he's got a unique skill set. Maybe a Kalen Ballage if someone falls in love with his height, weight, speed situation. But I think you'll start to see those guys come off the board in the fourth round. But we saw a ton of corners come off the board. Let me see what's left at the cornerback position because that was absolutely raped and pillaged in the second round to the point now where I think everyone went and got theirs. Such a shame what happened to Nick Nelson, cornerback out of Wisconsin, tearing his bicep, I think it was, or tricep, working out for one of these teams, or tearing his ACL. What did he tear? Let me see. I think I have it written down. I talked about it on my podcast. Oh shit, I can't find it. I thought I had written it down somewhere about what happened to him. He and another prospect both hurt themselves working out privately for teams. These guys have got to stop doing it, and I've talked about that already. But Nick Nelson is still available. Anthony Averett of Alabama is still available. Those are the next two guys that I have on my list of corners that are available. Ronnie Harrison, as we go to the safety position, is still available. Let's see. Ronnie Harrison and Justin Reed are still available at the safety position. Raiders pick is in, so we're going to see what the Raiders decide to do Paris Holland says, here comes Bruce Irvin. So I guess we're doing current players now to come out and announce these picks. So the Raiders are going to select who to start off this third round. And then we're going to get to Paris Holland's comment. Tackle Brandon Parker out of North Carolina A&T. Don't know who he is. So Paris Holland says, Geis pick worries me with the latest report. And we'll dig into all of that. We'll figure out what exactly the issue is. We'll get to the bottom of it. But at the end of the day, we got a good football player. And it's like I said, as long as he's not doing anything off the field in a legal manner that's going to get him in trouble with the league. Obviously, the Redskins have done their homework. You would hope. Hopefully, this isn't another Sua Cravens situation where we wasted another second-round pick. As the Redskins didn't do their homework and due diligence in that situation, this could be a repeat of that. We'll see. But hopefully, that is not the case, Paris. I'm with you. It is a little disconcerting, but I trust that they've done their homework here and they got it right. Lorenzo Simpson says, third round, got to go guard. I think that has got to be the pick. Giants pick in. Speaking of guard, it wouldn't shock me if they're looking to go offensive line again. But yes, I think this is the round. If you feel like there's value here, I don't necessarily know if there's value at guard in the third round here for the Redskins to take. It might be better and more beneficial to maybe take a tight end here in the third round and then double back and get your guard in the fourth. But you picked this third round pickup for a reason, and I think it was to get a guard, so I'm with you. Deshaun Taylor says, I'm satisfied. I think I am too for right now. We got to keep going. We can't rest on the fact that we got Geis and got a third round pick. We got to keep getting good football players. John Perez says, did we actually get our third round pick back? We didn't get our exact pick back, but we got a third round pick back. Yes, we got a third round pick now. And we smacked that. I mean, the way it looks, you think we got our pick back, but you know the order changes in every round. So just we're right around where we would have been if we had our own third round pick. But remember, we traded our pick to the Chiefs. So there's that. K. Michelle says, why can't Steelers draft defensive players like they draft wide receivers? It's a good question. If they could get it right, just skill guys in general. If they could get it right like they do with the skill guys that they draft, they don't miss it. They didn't miss at running back. They don't miss at receiver ever, it seems like. They didn't miss at quarterback with Roethlisberger. If they could just get it right like they get it right with the skill positions on offense, on defense, they'd be a team to be reckoned with. And they've gotten it right sometimes. I mean, Palomalu, Shazier, like these guys are studs. Those guys, you know, Palomalu was a stud for a long time. Ike Taylor was good for you for a long time. I mean, you had some good football players. Shazier looked like he was going to be a beast for years to come before the injury. They've gotten it right sometimes, but they've missed a lot more than they've gotten right, especially in the secondary. They just can't seem to get it right there. Terrence B says, did your team redeem themselves? I hear that theme a lot. It wasn't about redeeming themselves. It was just about, look, they made the pick. It is what it is. Move forward and continue to go on with your plan. The plan, like I said, all along was Geis and Payne. That was the plan to me all along. They're executing their plan. They feel like they've done everything. They haven't deviated. They're doing everything that they wanted to do in this draft. The plan was probably to trade back and still get Geis, and they did that. Who's to say they weren't the team to put the report out that Geis has temperamental issues? You know, when it comes to draft time, teams do some real shady shit to get what they want. All right, who's this guy? Oh, Marcus Canty going to announce this pick for the Giants. Let's see what we got. Boy, he's a big, tall son of a bitch. All right, Canty, make the pick now. Lorenzo Carter, Georgia. Man, this is a big, tall, speaking of tall, long son of a bitches, here's one right here in Lorenzo Carter, man. This guy is big and long, pretty much falls in line with what the Giants do on defense. Right around 6'5", long-ass arms, vines for arms and legs. This guy is an athletic freak, really, when you look at him. He underachieved at Georgia, but if you talk to people at Georgia, they'll tell you that his best football is yet to come. And so this is an upside pick. Strictly upside, a guy that can run, 4.5 40. All right, I was impressed with him at the combine. He did his thing at the combine, showed explosion, and he's long. So that's a good pickup for the Giants. If he is what people think he can grow into, then they got themselves a good football player in Lorenzo Carter. Matthew 123 says, "Oh my God, I was begging for Geist at 13. We traded back and got him. I love Bruce." Don't go that far now. Don't overdo it. Dominic Garland says, "Would you want Shaquem in the third round?" Nah, I wouldn't want Shaquem Griffin in the third round. Only because we had a chance to draft a linebacker earlier. We got other pressing needs. These are the rounds: third, fourth, fifth. Third, more like second, third, fourth. When you start drafting for need, we got to get who we need right now. Browns are on the clock. Pick is in. Randall Tellifer, he's a current player, is Randall Tellifer. So they're mixing in current players and former players. Chad Thomas, defensive end from Miami, don't know him. So, again, that'll be a guy I have to do some homework on. As we start to get this. The Texans on the clock for the first time in the 2018 NFL Draft. Welcome to the draft, Houston. See what the Texans decide to do. But, yeah, I wouldn't want Shaquem Griffin. We need to start drafting for need. Geist was a need. Guard is a need. Tight end is a need. Corner is a need. You got to start attacking those positions aggressively now. And then you can double back and start getting best player available in the 5th, 6th, 7th round when you get to that portion of the draft. Captain Spartan says, "I'm happy now. Let's get a running back or Dorian O'Daniel for my Steelers." James Washington adds much needed speed and will probably be a monster on special teams. Sean Mack says, "Logan Woodside is the best quarterback left available." A lot of people will probably beg to differ. And he did not impress people at the combine. So we'll see about that. The tape doesn't lie, though. Sean Mack says, "DJ Chark is overrated. He's only fast and had a good combine. He's a one-trick pony." Well, actually, Sean Mack, he lit it up all throughout the post-college football season. He lit it up at the Senior Bowl. He lit it up at the combine. And he continued that at the pro day. So DJ Chark did it at every level. And who's this guy? I seen his face before, man. I should know this dude, but I don't know his name. Kevin Walter, the receiver. I knew him, man. Big ass. I remember I used to kill people with him on Madden. Justin Reed is a Houston Texans safety out of Stanford. He was the next safety to go on the board, and so that's a really good pickup for the Texans. He's another one of these guys, a pure free safety in every sense of the word. When you talk about a guy that can cover over the slot, love his speed, first of all. I think his most valuable attribute is his ability to cover guys in the slot. Not a physical tackler, but he gets you down on the ground. But he covers so much ground. He had himself a field day versus USC, had a couple of picks in that game. Hopefully they show that pick because it was a gorgeous pick on the sidelines as he went up and got the football. He's a good football player, man. And I love the fact that he can cover over the slot. You can drop this guy as a single high center fielder and have him go red line to red line. But you can also say, "Hey, man, come down and play this wide receiver. Come down and play this tight end in the slot." And he has no problems. Loose hips, able to turn and run, cover guys man to man. That's a good pickup, man. Good pickup by the Houston Texans and getting safety Justin Reed. But back to DJ Chark. I don't love his hands, but I think DJ Chark, and the pick is in for the Giants, so this thing is moving very rapidly. I don't love DJ Chark, but I think that he serves the purpose in this league. So I like the fit for him in Jacksonville. Marcus Canty back out to make this selection for the Giants. We'll see who it is. Defensive tackle B.J. Hill out of NC State. I would love it if my Redskins double down and get Tim Settle, defensive tackle out of Virginia Tech. That would be my next choice for a prospect. I would love to shed some of these guys, get rid of Terrence McClain, maybe get rid of Ziggy Hood, even though I know he's a locker room leader. I'd love to shed dead weight on this roster and really start to beef things up down in the trenches. Because honestly speaking, I don't want Daron Payne playing nose. I want him playing the 5 tech. You want to maximize Daron Payne? Put him at 5 tech. Don't put him at the nose. Put him at the 5 tech. Draft Tim Settle, and you can do that. So, personally, I'd like to see the Redskins double down on, because I don't think there's good value here at guard, per se. I'd like to see them attack guard next round. I'd love to see them get Tim Settle in the 3rd round, but that's just me talking. Tim Settle, or I'll give you another wild card name, Nathan Shepard out of Fort Hays State. That's another guy that I would, and he can actually rush the passer. So he's a little bit more intriguing than a Tim Settle, who I know is a 2-down player that's going to stop the run, eat up space, eat up double teams, but I know he's going to do his job. Nathan Shepard is a guy that has a little juice to him. Showed off his athleticism at the combine. I want the Redskins to go defensive line again right here. Right here. Right now. Right here. Right now. John Perez says, Arden Key or Ronnie Harrison in the 3rd round. I want both of them, but only can have one. I don't want Arden Key because I don't know if he loves the game of football. That scares me. I don't want any parts of Arden Key. Ronnie Harrison, on the other hand, I take him. Physical, hard-hitting safety, good around the line of scrimmage, is good underneath in some zone sets, can play nickel linebacker, can blitz, very multifaceted. I'd take Ronnie Harrison. Wouldn't mind that one at all. As we keep it moving. See where we at now. All right, let's see. Damn. Terrence B says Cleveland got a 3rd round pick. Like I said, they traded back. My man Sean Mack was saying that we didn't have one. Now you did, and you made the selection already. Chop Shop says Geis at 59 is a grade of A++ at this point. Corey Fitterman says, now I think the Skins will probably go left guard in the 3rd unless Ronnie Harrison is available. Your thoughts? I just told you I'll take him. I'd like to double down on the defensive line here. John Perez says, Tiki Barber announcing the pick for the Bucs. It actually is Rondé Barber. Tiki is his brother. Sean Mack says, Davis is so inconsistent. Don't be doing that to my Buckeye Malcolm Jenkins, dog. I was just talking about the transition from corner to safety. That is it, Sean Mack. That is it. Don't cut my head off, man. DMV Pride says, Geis in an interview, I can't wait to be unleashed on the field. Look, I think the dude has enormous potential. And what is he supposed to say right now? I mean, this is the time of the year everybody's excited. And, he's going to talk that talk right now. I mean, did you hear what Josh Rosen said yesterday? That's more of news than anything else. 9 mistakes were made in front of me, is what he said. Nate Clements coming out to make this pick for the 49ers in the 3rd round, as Troy Vincent looks like he's taking over the duties of introducing some of these guests. So we'll see what the 49ers decide to do here with this pick. All right, Nate. Fred Warner, BYU linebacker, another athletically gifted linebacker that can run. Again, another one of these guys that fits the mold of today's NFL, a guy with some movement skills. And so Fred Warner is a guy that fits into what they're doing defensively in San Francisco. So he's got some length on, as you can see, got some length, got some ball skills. Another guy rating that 6'2", 6'3", 235-pound range or so, running a sub 4.7. So again, another athlete to add into the mix of athletes that they already have in San Francisco. That's a good fit for them there with Fred Warner. And again, I love linebackers that make plays on the football, and Fred Warner is a guy that will make plays on the football. Jose Martin says, what position would you like the Skins to get next? I already answered that. Pick is in for the Denver Broncos as we're nearing the Redskins in the third round. Just 3 picks away now. Sean Mack says, I like Tyquan Lewis more than I do Sam Hubbard, bro. That's a very big endorsement from my man Sean Mack as the Broncos are coming out. And easy Ed McCaffrey. And look, man, Ed's got some good sperm because all of his boys are making their way slowly but surely to the league, man. He just cycling these boys in one by one, man. So let's see what Ed's about to bless these Denver Broncos with. See what Ed's blessing these boys with. Royce Freeman, running back, Oregon. And I had a couple Redskins fans ask me about Royce Freeman. I didn't think he would go this early. I'm not a Royce Freeman, and that's probably why I didn't think he would go this early, is because I'm not a Royce Freeman fan, but he's a solid running back. He reminds me a lot of Jonathan Stewart. Same body type, same amount of speed, runs with the same kind of power, but I was never a Jonathan Stewart guy. So that probably explains why I wasn't a Royce Freeman guy. And it's not a coincidence, maybe it is, that they both went to Oregon. So there's that as well. But Anwar Muhammad says Ravens traded down. Jets pick is in. So we'll see what they decide to do here. Have we heard from the Jets since the Darnold selection? I don't recall seeing it. No, you know why? Because they had to trade up to get that pick. That's right. They had to trade away their second round pick. So this is the first time we've heard from the Jets since the Sam Darnold selection at 3. So let's see what they decide to do here. Maybe add a weapon for Darnold. Offensive lineman maybe. Maybe a tackle here. Makes a lot of sense for them. Jason Field says, who has won the draft so far? Cards, Giants, Bucks? Impossible to say. Impossible to say who's winning what. You know, when we take the totality of the draft at the end, that's when we'll start making declarations about who had the best draft. But right now, I can't even remember who took who yet. You know, it's all a blur right now. So hard to, you know, once we get a chance to kind of take it all in, we get all the picks because some good players are going to get selected tomorrow as well. And so you want to see everything before we start doing that. Sean Mack says, Harrison, Hurst, and B.J. Hill are all good players still left on the board. Well, B.J. Hill just went off the board a few picks ago. I liked him a lot. He was one of those defensive linemen that I was trying to explain to Skins fans that, hey, look, you know, there were other options at defensive tackle. We didn't have to go, you know, paying in the first round. But Hill is a good football player. And that NC State defensive line was loaded. Quincy Enunwa to make this pick for the Jets. Nathan Shepard. God damn it, I wanted him to be on the board. Boy, he fits that Jets defense like a glove. He's their new Muhammad Wilkerson. Shit. Boy, I wanted the option. I don't think we were going to take him, but I wanted the option, man. This guy's a freak. Would have loved to have seen. We got one of the best defensive line coaches in the league. I'd have loved to have seen our defensive line coach get his hands on Nathan Shepard. The things he could have done for this man's game, Tom Sula would have did wonders for that young man. Boy, I wanted Nathan Shepard, or at least the opportunity to get hands on him. But Tim Settle is still there. We'll see what the Redskins do. Ronnie Harrison is a lot of Redskin fans have brought up. I would love that move as well. So Nathan Shepard is a hell of a pick for the Jets. I'll tell you that much. And remember, Maurice Hurst, heart ailment, but first round talent still lingering and looming out there. Teams have taken him off the board. Someone's going to pick him. We'll see when he goes. It's not a matter of if, it's when someone decides to pull the trigger on him. Gregory Lightbody says, who's the best offensive guard on the board right now? I mean, it's not a lot left. It's not a lot out there to be had, man. Let me go to what I got available right now. And it's not a lot. Like I said, Taylor Hearn, Sam Jones are two of the guys that I have. Let me pull out my big list. And I can give you some more names at the guard position. But the really big names, the guys that move the needle at the guard position, they're gone. So at this point, what's it to you? How bad you want a guard in the third round? Because you might be reaching right here. But let's see. Even on my big list, I don't really have too many more names written down. I mean, Rod Taylor out of Ole Miss was a guy that flashed at the combine. Really had a strong day. Taylor Hearn and Sam Jones are and there's also another guard out of Iowa. His name escapes me at the moment. I got his name written down on my other list. I got a bunch of lists. Give me a second. Sean Welsh is another guy. Mason Cole out of Michigan, but he's more of a center. So you're really running out of options at this point. So like I said, there's not a lot to be had. Rod Jones is intriguing out of Ole Miss if the Redskins wanted to go guard. But I think the value right here is another defensive lineman, to be honest with you. So we'll see what the Redskins decide to do as their pick is up next and they're on the clock as the Dolphins pick is now officially in. BE says, can Shaquem Griffin play outside linebacker? If he can and he falls to the card pick, wouldn't mind that choice. Sean Mack says, I really want my Browns to get Deshaun Hamilton. You've been crying, screaming, pleading for Deshaun Hamilton. I think he's going to go in the third round, and I don't think you have another selection. So I think you might have missed the boat on him. If you wanted him, you needed to take him at the top of the third round. Jonathan Lynch says, what are your thoughts on Nyheim Hines? He's, to me, a specialty guy. If you remember what Tariq Cohen was for the Bears last year, that's what I look at Nyheim Hines as. A guy that can catch it out of the backfield, is highly corrosive and explosive. A play waiting to happen. A walking, explosive play waiting to happen. But he's not an every down back. We have that now, but my thing is, Chris Thompson, to me, he's too close to what Chris Thompson is for us. But he's going to help someone for sure at the running back position. Jay Camman says, I've been patiently watching for the Bills to do something. I think they'll trade up again. We'll see. Kenneth Ware says, we got us one, brother. Shout out to my homie. We winning. I love the pick, man. I love the pick. So, Kenneth Ware says, we for us one, bro. We'll see. John Perez says, I think Ronnie Harrison and Arden Key are going to fall to us at 74. Well, both of them currently are on the board. Safety Jones is about to make the pick for the Dolphins. So we're going to see what he gives the Dolphins here. Jerome Baker, linebacker out of Ohio State is a pick. Again, talk to my man Sean Mack. He can tell you all about Jerome Baker, linebacker out of Ohio State. So that's 2 years in a row the Dolphins have went Ohio State linebackers. Remember, last year they went Raekwon McMillan. Now they go with Jerome Baker. So back-to-back years, Ohio State. So essentially, they got 2 rookies at the linebacker position from Ohio State. Going to be interesting to see how that transforms their defense with some guys that can run, because Jerome Baker, another one of these very capable athletes coming out of this Ohio State program. Redskins officially on the clock. The pick is in for the Redskins. So I'm going to go straight to the bottom and see what y'all talking about. All right, I'm going to go back up. I don't see no heat down at the bottom. All right. Here comes Darrell Young to make the Redskins' next selection. And Darrell looks good, man. I was sad to see him go. He was a core Redskin. So in the 3rd round, the Redskins select tackle Jerron Christian out of Louisville. And if my man Captain Spartan is in the building right now, please stand up. Redskin fans have a ton of questions for you. I know you are my resident Louisville fan and can tell me all about Jerron Christian. So if you're out there, talk to me about this man and what he brings to the table, because I don't know. So talk to me about this man. I know he's a tackle, a little undersized at 298. So just looking at his measurables, he looked like he's long as hell. But I wonder if he can kick inside to guard. Or are they drafting him with the thought process of him being our new swing tackle? Remember, we only got Ty Gesicki for 1 more year. He signed his 2nd round tender 3 weeks ago. So we only got Ty Gesicki for 1 more year. So this may be the replacement for Ty Gesicki as our swing tackle. I don't know if this guy can play guard or not, so don't ask me. I don't know. That's why you got to ask my man, Captain Spartan 04. If he's still in the building, Captain Spartan, I need you to stand up and let us know what's really good. Chiefs pick is in. I have no idea who this gentleman is that's about to announce this pick. Willie Lanier. Shame on me. But I don't know what Willie Lanier looks like. But I know he's a Hall of Fame football player. Chiefs select Derek Nottie, defensive tackle, Florida State. 2-down player. Really solid against the run. I thought he underachieved at Florida State. Didn't always play up to his talent level. But like I said before, the Chiefs rarely make a mistake on the defensive line. So we'll see. But he's a solid football player, man. David Johnson says, Reed is a good pick for my Texans. Things are looking up. Kenneth Ware says, I think Deron Payne will be great. I think he will make Louie T eat his words. I hope he does. I want to be wrong, just like I was wrong about Monte Nicholson last year. I know what I saw on tape. So, again, Steelers trade up 3 spots with the Seahawks. Seahawks pick up an additional 7th round pick. So, let's go ahead and hit the trade button. So the Steelers are now on the clock. They're about to make their selection. This looks like some kind of tackle, and I should know him. I think he used to have cornrows. Max Starks. I knew it. You know he looked familiar. All right, Max, what you got for us, man? Mason Rudolph. There it is. Mason Rudolph is a Pittsburgh Steeler. Perfect landing spot for him. Ben Roethlisberger on his final days in Pittsburgh. He will sit, he will learn, and hopefully be the heir apparent to the throne in Pittsburgh. I never liked when they went and got Josh Dobbs. I never thought that was a good fit for them. This guy, however, has the talent to be a starting quarterback in this league. I don't love Mason Rudolph, but with time in a system where he's comfortable, he could be a hell of a football player for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's a big pick. And you needed to get him before somebody else got him. So that's a big move for the Steelers, man. I'm anxious to see how that works out for him, because that's a franchise-defining move right there. All of these teams with these Hall of Fame quarterbacks that are moving on at some point, like the Giants just pissed away an opportunity to potentially get one. They might have effed up, but we'll find out. Time will tell. But the Saints, the Steelers, the Giants, all of these teams, the Chargers, all of these teams with aging quarterbacks, they're the future Hall of Famers, where you don't know who the hell is going to be the replacement. The Patriots. This shit is dangerous, because you can easily be the Cleveland Browns 3 years from now. You can be the Jacksonville Jaguars before this defense turned it around and be a 3-4 win team for 5 of the next 6 years. Your shit can go downhill quick. You don't get it right at quarterback. The only reason all of those teams have been good for so long is because they got the most important position in all of football. They had it for the last decade. You take that shit out of the equation, and you, just like some of these other teams, in the quarterback wilderness looking for one, shit can go downhill quick. So Steelers put themselves in a position to not have it happen to them. We'll see. It's a big pick for them. John Perez says, who's the best remaining special teams player on the board? I don't know. I have no idea. I'd have to look at my list. I want to get through some more comments. I might double back to that one. Okay, Michelle says, would it be wise for the Redskins to draft Rudolph at this point? Well, he's gone now. And Kenneth Ware says, this is our year to show we not to be taken lightly. I hope you're right. KC says, Rosen's not wrong. We gonna see, man. I love his confidence. Jason Field says, where's the next quarterback going? You just answered your own question, my man. To the Pittsburgh Steelers at 76. They traded up with the Seattle Seahawks 3 spots, and they got their man. And maybe they were afraid Cincinnati was going to try to take a quarterback. J. Camman asks, where was Rudolph going to go? Now you know. John Perez says, can't believe I didn't notice Rondé Barber because of his brother Tiki. They look so similar. Obviously, they're twins. Sean Mack says, I never heard of Nathan Shepard. What's up with him? So if you checked out my podcast, episode 9 that I had with my man Jay Reed from climbingthepocket.com, he talked about Nathan Shepard's story. And I didn't know the story. I knew of Nathan Shepard himself, but I didn't know his entire story. Here's a guy that couldn't afford. He went to school initially, had to drop out because he couldn't afford to go to school. And so he picked up a construction job, ended up being able to pay for a lower tier school, was able to make a name for himself. And here he is now over at, what was it, Fort Hays State. And he slowly made a name for himself. He was invited to all of the major extracurricular activities after the season, East-West, Senior Bowl, all of that kind of stuff. And then he showed out at the Combine. And he's 6'3", 6'4", 315 pounds, athletic marvel. I think he ran a sub-5 at the Combine. Let me tell you what he ran here in a second. Is Michael Johnson going to make the pick for the Cincinnati Bengals here as we're moseying right along through this third round. He ran a 5.09 at the combine, but his athletic skills and his movement skills and athleticism was on full display. It was a thing of beauty to watch, and I knew he would come off the board. I thought he actually might get selected in the second round because his stock was rising so rapidly. Sam Hubbard stays in the state of Ohio as the Cincinnati Bengals pick up Sam Hubbard, and it seems like the Bengals are just shopping in their backyard. You know, they picked up Billy Price in the first round. Now they get Sam Hubbard, and they're just sticking in state. They said to hell with it. Damn, they had back-to-back picks. I didn't realize that. And then they take Malik Jefferson, a very athletic linebacker out of Texas. So they doubled up, did the Cincinnati Bengals, taking two guys to help this defense. Malik Jefferson is interesting because not only can he run, he's got some really good coverage skills, man. Again, another one of these guys that looks like today's NFL, man. Guy that can run, good measurements on him. He's physical at the point of attack. But I think his true ability is shown when he gets to get into coverage, man. You know, that 4.52 that he ran at the combine speaks for itself. And he's got some good movement skills out in space. Like I said, he's what today's NFL linebacker looks like. 6'2", 236, 4'5", 240. Good in space as a coverage linebacker. You keep him clean. He's on the other side of the line of scrimmage. It's a good pickup for the Cincinnati Bengals. Here comes Max Strong, ex-fullback. You don't see him like Max Strong anymore. See what the Seahawks do at 79. All right, Seahawks. They got a number of positions. Still need the attack corner. Still need offensive lineman. Still need defensive end, and they go defensive end Rasheem Green. There was a report about his medical that he was trying to convince teams that there was nothing wrong with his knee. I think some teams had a second round grade on him but dropped him off of their board because of some issues with the medical. So if he checks out, he's intriguing. A lot of people thought he should have went back to school for one more year for a little bit of seasoning, but he's gifted, man. A lot of people think that this guy has some really good talent, and he's not done growing yet. So I'll be interested to see. And he's right out there in their neck of the woods, so they know about Rasheem Green. So we'll see about him. Sean Mack says, as a Buckeye, it makes me vomit to admit this, but Mason Cole is good value right now. Dominic Garland says, is Orlando Brown still up? Yeah, you know that his offseason was horrendous, man. His combine was one for the ages in terms of how bad it was. And he didn't do anything to dispel that at his pro day. So a lot of teams are down on him right now. Sean Mack says, yeah, my Browns screwed the pooch on Williams and Hamilton, bro. LOL. John Perez says, are you surprised that the Dolphins didn't draft the quarterback considering Tannehill is on a short leash at this point? Nah, not really. He really hasn't had a shot under their head coach, Adam Gase. Remember, he was playing well under Adam Gase before he got hurt. So I think this is another damn kicker right here. Chris Brown, I think it is. Damn, are they going to show his name? I think it's Chris Brown, though. Martinez Rankin, tackle out of Mississippi State. Don't know him. So, Deron Johnson says, my Ravens going to get a receiver this round. I hope I'm right. Ravens are 3 picks away. So we'll see. I think that edge rusher or wide receiver for the Ravens here. Wouldn't be surprised if they tried to go interior offensive line either. David Johnson says, Justin Reed is an excellent pickup. Surprised the Texans got it right. Sean Mack says, nice pick by the Dolphins. Baker is fast, can tackle, good in coverage, but does need to improve strength. Shed blocks better and stop getting washed up at the line of scrimmage. Cowboys pick is in, so we'll see what the Cowboys do. They've got to take a receiver at this point. Still haven't addressed that position, and I think it's about time that they do that. Either that or tight end right here for the Cowboys. Mark Andrews, to me, is the best tight end available, and he would be staying in the state of Texas, so that would make a lot of sense. If you're talking receiver and they're bringing out Travis Frederick to announce the pick, if you're talking receiver, not a lot of value there, but Equanimous St. Brown. Who else do I have on this list? See who the pick is. Simi Cobbs is still available. Marcel Aitman is available. That's the group of receivers you're kind of looking at now, since that position has really been poached in this draft. And it wasn't that. And Michael Gallup is another guy I don't want anyone to forget about at this point in the draft. If you're the Cowboys and you're serious about getting a receiver, now's the time to do it. I think you might be able to still get Mark Andrews next round. There's Gallup. I said that's the pick. That's the best value that you could have gotten at the receiver position if you're the Dallas Cowboys is Gallup. If you're serious, and like I said, if you were serious about getting a receiver, this was the time to do it. He's got some impressive tape, man. You watch him against Alabama. You watch him against Isaiah Oliver, and he did some really good things on tape, man. And so if you were going to get a receiver, now was the time to do it. You weren't going to get another chance at getting a prolific wide receiver in this draft. Everyone else in this draft is strictly upside picks. Michael Gallup is probably the last guy that you can get with some substance in this draft. So that's a good pickup for the Cowboys, who desperately needed a pass-catching threat. Still think they need a tight end to add to the mix, and I think you can get that in the next round, whether it's the Wisconsin tight end or Mark Andrews out of Oklahoma, CJ Fumagalli out of Wisconsin, Ian Thomas out of Indiana. All of these are options at tight end. So I still think there's time to address tight end if you're a team out there looking for an upgrade at the tight end position. Sean Mack says, Noddy is a run stuffer like a beast. That's what he does, man. He's big in the middle. I thought he would be better as a pass rusher, and I think that's probably where a little bit of my disappointment with him stemmed from. But as far as stuff in the run is concerned, Noddy gets the job done. Kenneth Ware says, I hope he take our right tackle spot because I hate that guy now. I even forgot his name. I call him what's the name? Man, don't do Momo like that. Do not do Momo like that. When Momo's healthy, he's one of the best right tackles in the league. Don't do that. Captain Spartan 04 says, I love his footwork. He's talking about Jerron. Can't even remember the dude last name that we took, the tackle that we took. He said, the love his footwork, but struggles to anchor. He can definitely struggle with speed rushers, acceptance to swim. He is better in the run than in the pass game, which means he might be a guy that is easy to move to guard. So we'll see how the Redskins feel about him. Buffalo Pregame says, I think the Steelers pick is Rudolph now, and you got it. John Perez says, of course we took a damn tackle. Damn it, Bruce Allen. Buddy Christ says, Mel Kiper says Jerron Christian could develop into a Pro Bowl offensive tackle, that he has that much talent. Very interesting. Sean Mack says, Mason Rudolph will be a bust like a mofo. Mark it down. Atlas says, quarterback controversy in Pitt now. None at all. Sean Mack says, dipshit Ben isn't exactly the mentoring type. Well, when you're on your last legs, things change. Maybe not earlier in his career. John Perez says, Mason Rudolph or Josh Dobbs is Ben's successor. It's definitely Mason Rudolph. Captain Spartan says, I'm pissed because I wanted an inside linebacker, but at least we got Mason in the third and didn't reach for him in the second and first like we were rumored to. Slip Ammo says, all of that Bengals drafting the QB stuff is just media lies. You know how it goes. I thought that was the case, but you never really know. You never really know what's going on in Cincinnati. And with Marvin Lewis, I think this is it for him. But we've been saying that for like 3 years running. I was like, when I heard that, I was like, well, what's wrong with Andy Dalton? I know he's not great, but he isn't the biggest issue in Cincinnati. So I get where you're coming from. I think a lot of that really came from if Marvin Lewis was to move on, because Andy Dalton is Marvin Lewis's guy. If he were to move on, then the new coach might have come in and said, hey, I don't want Andy Dalton. I think that's where that started. Jay Camman says, I hope Chris Mortensen is doing okay. He sounds horrible tonight on ESPN. I hope his voice is just hoarse or something. Well, you know, he's been dealing with his battle with cancer, and he's been fighting it, man. He's a warrior. And it could be just that, you know, as you said, you're dealing with a ton of talking. Like my voice, I'm not going to have much of a voice after tonight, you know. So I know I'm not coming back for a breakdown of the draft tomorrow. It'll be Sunday if I do it, just to allow my voice a chance to recoup tomorrow. But, you know, talking for as long as we've been talking, it'll zap your voice, but we'll see. Who's this guy coming out for the Lions? Oh, man, is that the linebacker that jumped in the air and tore his ACL? What's his name? Steven Tuller. Yeah, that's him. I remember when he jumped in the air celebrating and tore his damn ACL. Tracy Walker out of Louisiana is the selection for the Lions safety. Don't know who he is, so we'll keep it moving. Sean Mack says, Buckeyes produce NFL talent at an incredible level, so I can't blame them for it in terms of Cincinnati staying in-house and continuing to poach from Ohio State. Sean Mack says, Hubbard is a pure effort guy, which is what I said on my breakdown. Not a ton of moves, can set the edge. What a lot of people fail to realize is that Sam Hubbard is still raw. This man was going to college to play lacrosse. He was a lacrosse player. And Herb Meyer came and showed up at his high school and was like, bruh, you a safety. Come to Ohio State, put on 70 pounds, and I'm going to make you a defensive end. I'm going to get you in the NFL. Sam was like, okay. And he did. And now he's a Cincinnati Bengal. So he's still raw. Baltimore Ravens are now on the clock. Pick is in. Everyone thinks this has got to be a receiver. I don't know if there's value here at receiver. I think this is Chris Kiyomatu. Is that who that is? Nope, Edwin Muatalo. That was a good-ass guess by me. Wrong as hell, though. All right, Edwin, what you got for us, brother? Orlando Brown, tackle, Oklahoma. And I think his dad might have played for the Ravens at one point in his career as well. So makes a lot of sense there. Yeah, he had a really bad combine and pro day, but the tape, this dude is long as shit. 6'8", arms and legs are like vines. I don't think he could play left tackle. He doesn't move well enough. I mean, left tackle, I don't think he moves well enough. But I think you can stick him at right tackle, and you can get away with that. He's just so goddamn long. If he could just get his hands on you. But his functional strength, that the lack of it that he showed at the combine scares a lot of teams. And his lack of athleticism and his poor test numbers at the combine, that didn't help at all. So he's a project to me. You know, you get your hands on him. You coach him up, and you hope that this guy develops at the level that you're looking for him to develop at. Dark Sealer says, hey, Lou, how do you feel about the Steelers getting Rudolph and keeping his guy Washington with him for comfort? Can Rudolph be a good starter? I didn't even think about that. I forgot they took James Washington in the second. That's a good-ass move. And keeping them together, it does keep them together. Man. I think Rudolph can be successful. He needs time, and he'll get that with Ben Roethlisberger because Ben might play for 2 more years. You know, just depends on how it all goes. They win a Super Bowl, Ben's out. They don't. They come close again, Ben may come back. Chargers pick is in as we start to near the mid portion of the second round. Well, actually, we're starting to near the latter portion of this third round, and we're starting to get into those compensatory picks as well. Adrian Hernandez says, so is Jerron going to play guard? I don't know. That's a good question. I think he's going to kick inside the guard. But, again, like I mentioned with Ty Gesicki, he's only got 1 more year left on the Redskins roster as a swing tackle. Before they may potentially move on, they put a second-round tender. They knew what no one was going to give them a second-round pick for Ty Gesicki, so they slapped the second-round tender on him. He signed it. So he's going to be a Redskin for at least 1 more year. But they may be looking to develop Jerron Christian into a tackle. I don't trust him because he's got 2 first names. So you know how that goes. But we'll see what happens with him. Tyler R. says, are there still any good defensive tackles for Detroit? I thought they were going to take Taven Bryan in the first round. Felt like they dropped the ball there. But I can check my list and tell you who's still available at defensive tackle. See what we got. Tim Settle is still out there. I don't know if he fits exactly what you're looking for, but if you had Haloti Ngata, then Tim Settle should be a guy that should still intrigue you. Harrison Phillips from Stanford is still available. I don't like him personally, but he's still available. Deshaun Hand out of Alabama, still available. Tim Settle out of Virginia Tech, still available. I'm going to check my other list. Justin Jones out of NC State, still available. Reggie McKenzie Jr. out of Tennessee, still available. Belial Nichols out of Delaware, still available. John Atkins out of Georgia, still available. So quite a few names still left at defensive tackle. It's all in what you're looking for and what you're willing to spend. The next defensive tackle to come off the board will probably be Harrison Phillips of Stanford when it's all said and done. But the Chargers are now on the clock, and we'll see who they decide to take. Harper D says, can't wait to watch the video and see you stressing during the Redskins pick. Not today, bruh. Not today. Michael Gallup is lanky with sneaky good speed, says Sean Mack. John Perez says, Lions are up. I think they take Shaquem Griffin here. They did not take him. Deron Johnson says, Ravens pick coming up. It is 2 picks away now from the Ravens. You've got to think receiver for the Ravens. We're running out of real estate there. Chargers. This must be a current player. I don't know this guy here. Daryl Stuckey. I think he's still on that roster. Justin Jones. I just mentioned defensive tackle. They have such a talented defensive line. All 4 of their starting defensive linemen were set to be drafted. I think one of them may not get drafted now because he tore his ACL working out for the Giants in a private workout. But Justin Jones, another one of these guys, very athletic for his size. B.J. Hill just went off the board to the Giants. Here's Justin Jones going off the board. And sadly enough, the other defensive end was the one that tore his ACL that went to NC State. So he may still get selected. It'll just be later in the draft. I think he's going to go undrafted now because he probably won't be able to help a team this year in 2018. So unfortunate for him. But that's as talented defensive line as you'll find, and that includes Alabama in all the football. And all reason you can see all 4 of the guys are going to get drafted. Raiders trade up to the 87th pick with the Rams. So Raiders have identified a guy that they want to go up and get. So we'll see what happens there as the Raiders move up to the 87th overall pick with the Los Angeles Rams. Panthers pick is in. Another white guy that I have no idea who he is, Jason Baker. Don't know him. But the Panthers still need a, they took a corner, took a receiver, so another corner. Okay. Thought they could go corner. Thought they could go receiver again. They decided to go corner again with the Tennessee corner, Rashawn Golden, excuse me. Don't know his name. Don't know him either. So that's another guy I'll have to do homework on. Ravens are up, though. And I think it's got to be receiver here for the Ravens. As Steven Kinsler says, Steven Kinsler says, okay, what did Steven Kinsler say? With the pick at tackle, who is moving inside? Lou, sorry, I'm late to the party. Jerron Christian is probably the one. You know, Trent's not moving inside. Morgan Moses isn't moving inside. So he would be the guy that moves inside. Both Morgan Moses and Trent Williams have been paid handsomely to play tackle, not guard. So, neither one of those guys are kicking inside. It'd have to be Jerron Christian. So Edwin Muyatalo coming out again. And the Ravens took an offensive tackle in Orlando Brown last time. Let's see if they take a receiver this time. Mark Andrews, another tight end. Joe Flacco loves his tight ends. They went Hayden Hurst in the first round. They doubled down on the tight end position. Like I said, Joe Flacco is at his best when he's got tight ends to throw the football to. I think the Cowboys missed an opportunity to get Mark Andrews. He would have been a great fit in Dallas. He's a splitting image of Jason Witten. Mark Andrews is one of my favorite players in this draft. A little bit more shiftier than I gave him credit for on tape. He was breaking dudes off. He was Baker Mayfield's favorite target at Oklahoma, his most trusted target. The guy knows how to win. He knows how to get open, and he knows how to separate, which is crazy because, again, he doesn't strike you as a guy that can separate. But watch him make 3 guys miss on this play. I had fun with him against UTEP, man. He was making some plays. Mark Andrews is going to be a good tight end in this league for a very long time. So that's a great pickup for the Ravens. And when they were at their best, 2 tight end sets in Baltimore, they're going to be able to get back to that now with both Hayden Hurst and now Mark Andrews. So they said, hell, we can't find us another receiver. We're going to get us another tight end. I love it. Now you got Michael Crabtree, got Krabs, got John Brown. I feel like I'm missing one guy. Willie Snead. And now you got Hayden Hurst and Mark Andrews. I love it. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. RJ Broussard says, where do you rank Gallup? I had Gallup as my, let me get to my board. I had Gallup as my one, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7. I had him as my 8th receiver in this draft. So he came off the board right about around where he was supposed to. He was my 8th receiver. No receiver came off the board before him that wasn't supposed to. So he landed right around where he was supposed to. Good football player, too. Lil Lion says, hey, Louie, I think the Saints would be the team in this round to select Shaquem Griffin. They could use some speed at linebacker. They could use an influx of speed there. I think this is the round where he comes off the board, believe it or not. I've said all along I thought he was a 3rd-round pick. It's the 3rd round. I'd be disappointed if he didn't go in the third round, honestly speaking, because I think he's worthy of a third round pick. DMV fan 123 says Darius Geis pick makes up for the Deron Payne reach, in my opinion. Geis is a superstar, to be honest. I don't know if he's a superstar, but I know he's a damn good running back, and I feel good about the pick. Sean Mack says, I remember, Lou. What do you remember? What did I say that made you say that? Hit me. I don't remember what I said. John Perez says, how the hell is Shaquem Griffin still on the board? I mean, not all teams love Shaquem Griffin now. Dark Sealer says, and yeah, he's a great story, but he does still have a compromised limb. Some teams love the story, but they don't want to, take the player still. Let me see what Ian Rappaport talking about.
Defensive tackle for Michigan. He is a hard issue. Teams believe there is an increased risk for him. Then a talented pass rusher, Arden Key from LSU, voluntarily went to marijuana rehab during college. Teams have done a lot of homework on him. All right, thank you.
All right, so they talked about Arden Key and they talked about Hurst. I think that's what this pick is for the Raiders right here. Maurice Hurst, defensive lineman out of Michigan. Arden Key, one of the guys, didn't know which one, but if you're trading up at this point in the draft, it's for a specific player, and that player was Arden Key. I would have preferred they had taken, you know what's crazy is he's a carbon copy, less explosive carbon copy of Alden Smith. And remember, Alden Smith was a Raider. That was his last stop in the league. They needed to get a pass rusher to go alongside Khalil Mack. I would have preferred them to went ahead and taken Harold Landry. He was more explosive than Key to me, but we'll see. Arden Key is an intriguing guy for sure. And when you go back to 2016, he was way more explosive then than he was in 2017 by far. Obviously, he was dealing with the shoulder surgery, the increased weight gain, and all of that stuff that he was dealing with. 2016 was his breakout year. And if they can get that Arden Key back, then they got themselves a football player. Dark Sealer says, what's the worst pick in the draft so far to you based on value? I don't want to shit on anybody. I don't think there hasn't been too many players where you scratch your head and say, wow, what is he doing here? Obviously, the Browns taking Ward at 4, I wasn't a huge fan, but there are a lot of people around the league that think that was a great pick. The first head-scratcher pick for me was Leighton Vander Esch by the Cowboys at 21. I thought that was a little bit early for him, and they needed a receiver at that point, and they got a receiver now, but the value was at receiver at that point in the draft. But they identified Leighton Vander Esch as their guy, and so they took him. Packers have Brad Jones announcing their pick. I'd like to think that this is a wide receiver for the Packers. They still haven't addressed that. Could be another corner. Hell, they've taken all the corners in the draft. Why not take another one? I'm joking. This got to be receiver. Linebacker Oren Burks, Vanderbilt. So still passing on the receiver position. And to be honest with you, the value isn't at receiver right now. The value comes back around in the 4th round to me. That's when a guy like Equanimous St. Brown starts to come into play. That's when a guy like, I think Simi Cobbs is more of a 5th round prospect. That's when a guy like maybe Marcel Aitman is a guy that starts to tickle your fancy around the 4th round, late 4th, early 5th. I don't think there's any real value left at receiver. Let me look at my list to make sure I'm not forgetting anybody. But the Packers take Oren Burks out of Vanderbilt. Rams are now on the board for what I believe is the first time in this draft, if I'm not mistaken, as they traded back several times. So, let me check the receiver position, and then we'll get to the Rams, who should probably be in the market for a linebacker at this point. Getting rid of their linebacker, trading him away to the Giants. I think they might be in the market for a LB right here. Roger Saffold is making the pick. Tackle, Joseph Noteboom, TCU is the selection there. Have no idea who he is. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 picks left in this third round. But looking at the receivers, Deion Kane is still available, which he might have some late third round value. So this is right around the time you could see him come off the board. Deshaun Hamilton is another guy that still has value in the third round. That's it. I don't see any more third round receivers. After that, you get into the fourth round, and that's when I think Equinemius St. Brown. I like Arden Tate a lot. As I watch more tape on Arden Tate, he's growing on me a lot, and I think he's a guy that in the fourth round should have some consideration thrown his way. I also like Jordan Lasley out of UCLA a lot. He drops the football too much for me, which is why, maybe the fourth is a little too early for him, but he's explosive. He gets the football in his hands, and he can make plays. So that's what the receiver position looks like right now. But the worst pick to me so far, I don't think there has been one, to be honest. There hasn't been one that's I've said, wow, what the hell was that team thinking? There's been some surprises, curveballs maybe, but nah. Josh Minnis says, how do you think linebacker Jerome Baker would do on the Dolphins? Well, my man Sean Mack already gave you a nice little report. He's fast, good in space, good in coverage. The question with him is he gets bullied in the run game and needs to be a little bit physically more stronger. So he gets into that weight training program for the Dolphins, bulks up a little bit, and you may have one on your hands. He's an athlete, though, for sure. Buddy Christ says, kind of seems like we traded Alex Smith for Kendall Fuller straight up now after how the second round went. You feel better about the trade. It lessens the impact of that blow, for sure, getting that third round pick. Adrian Hernandez says, do you think Antonio Callaway gets drafted tomorrow? No, I don't. And remember, he failed another test at the combine. He's got, what's the pass rusher for the Cowboys that was drafted out of Nebraska? I can see his face. He's got Randy Gregory written all over him. Nobody wants any, and the dude is so talented. That's the bad part. But he got kicked out of Florida. He's got bad news written all over him. Nobody wants any parts of Antonio Callaway. Credit card fraud and smoking weed. Nah. Ain't nobody messing with him. He'll be on a roster probably as an undrafted guy. Deron Johnson says, I like this pick. Brian Emerson says, how the F is the safety from Bama still available? I told anybody that would listen that while he was impressive, he had limitations to his game. He's more of a strong safety than a free. And in today's NFL, you got to be able to rock and roll. You got to be able to do both. It's a changing landscape at the safety position. Gone are the days of Cam Chancellor. It's nice to have a Cam Chancellor, but how many of those dudes are really walking around on the NFL field these days? You want to hit hard, you better look like Keanu O'Neal and less like Cam Chancellor. And Ronnie Harrison looks a lot like Cam Chancellor in the way that he moves. 215, 6'2", got some good size on him, but he's better around the line of scrimmage than he is away from it. Ben Garland, to make the pick of Dedrin Sanat out of South Florida, defensive tackle. We knew that they were going to address the defensive line at some point, and this is how they decided to do it. They may not be done on the defensive line. I'm anxious to see where Maurice Hurst lands now. He's the biggest name left on the board at this point. So I want to see who decides to take a flyer on him. Him and Ronnie Harrison are the two guys that are the big names left. Anwar Muhammad says, what do you think of Andrews and Hurst picks? I already talked about that. Sean Mack says, I remember that Hubbard was a safety when I first got to the team. LOL. Oh, okay, I got you. Horrible pick by the Raiders. Arden Key is Barkevious Mingo 2.0. I don't love Arden Key, but I'm going to give him a chance. If he can get back to his 2016 form. Saints selection is in. They got Roman Harper coming out to make the selection. So let's see what Mr. Salt and Pepper decides to do here for the Saints. As the Saints select wide receiver Traquan Smith. Don't know who that is, out of Central Florida. So if I had to guess, I'd say that he has speed and is a burner. I'm about to learn about him right now, just like you are. Can I get some measurables on this guy? Can I get some combine numbers? 4.49, figured as much. 6'2", 203, so height, weight, speed specimen. That's about what you would take at this point. I don't know him, but look, if Sean Payton's taking him, then that means he fits in their offense, and he's probably going to be a beast for him. I got to step away for a second. I got to get me a new bottle of wine. I'll be right back. All right. Back in business. Brand new bottle. Let's pull it up. Pull it up. Pull it up. Man, go ahead and fill up that cup. All right. So now I'm ready to go down the home stretch. We got about 9 picks or so left. I'm ready to go down home stretch with y'all. Let's see where we are. I think the Steelers are the next team up on the clock. John Perez says, Arden Key finally got selected by none other than the Raiders. Kind of fitting, right? John Perez says, I think the reason why the Raiders selected the tackle early is because they probably think Marshall Newhouse is a bum. And he is. Hey, go ahead. Daniel Jeremiah got a fan club out there, man. They got on App State jerseys and got his shirt and everything. That's awesome, man. And that's a way to get airtime on TV, man. J Cam Man says Raiders picks are horrible tonight. Gruden is out of touch. He gets fired in 2 years and joins Sunday Night Football with Mike Tirico replacing Collinsworth. That is a very astute observation. I will agree with the first half of that. Gruden is, it's amazing how out of touch he is with reality of the NFL, being that he's been around the game. He's never left. He's been talking to coaches. He knows what works and what doesn't work, and yet he still comes in and is going with this archaic mindset and way of doing things. Max Starks is out for the Steelers to make this selection and see if the Steelers address offensive line here, maybe. There it is. Okafor out of Western Kentucky. He might have been the biggest name tackle left on the board, and that makes a lot of sense. Very raw, but very, very talented. So that makes a lot of sense for them. And I expected them to go tackle. They lost Chris Hubbard in free agency to the Browns. So I knew that offensive line was probably going to be a position that they'd look to solidify there. As I look at the tackle position and see what's left, and it's scarce. Desmond Harrison is a name of note that's still available out of West Georgia that a lot of people like his athleticism and his upside. But Okafor was the one of the last few big names at tackle. But back to J. Cam Man and John Gruden. I'm amazed at how out of touch he is. He thinks he's going to come back in and install Bucks ball, run the football, hard-nosed, smash-mouth defense, and win games 13-10. And he's been watching football for the last 7 years at Monday Night Football with ESPN. He should know better. It's a passing game now, and he's coming in and he's bringing in all these fullbacks and all these plotters. And I'm just like, bro, what are you doing? He's turning back the clock to 1999, and it's 2018. Like, dude, get with the times. I expected that when Joe Gibbs came back the second time around because he had been away from football. He was in NASCAR. He didn't know what the hell was going on. When he left, there wasn't even free agency. When he left in 1993, free agency had just started. He didn't even know what free agency was about. So when he got to the NFL the second time around, he's like, oh, shit, we can sign guys? We can do that now? It was different. But John know better, and John out here doing nonsense. So, Brad Meester is about to make this pick for the Jags. I'm trying to think what the Jags need here. They've already addressed the receiver position, which I thought was a big need. I wanted to take a stab at the dark at corner. Ronnie Harrison, safety, out. Boy, they just seem to be getting a lot of good football players. I thought they would address corner. They lost their slot corner. Aaron Colvin. They just seem to keep getting good football players, man. Ronnie Harrison. I don't care what kind of deficiencies that I talked about him having. He had no business being around this late in the draft. They just got themselves another good football player. The Jaguars' defense is stupid, man. It's dumb. But back to J. Cam, man, he's not getting fired in 2 years. The man signed a 10-year contract. He practically owns the Raiders right now. He's not going anywhere. John Perez says, a fellow Redskins fan told me on Facebook the other day that Alan Lazard is a good fourth-round pick at the receiver position. He's a height, weight, speed specimen out of Iowa State. He's intriguing. I don't love Alan Lazard. He's another one of these big receivers in this draft that can't really separate, but he can run really, really fast. Unlike some of these other guys. Him and Aitman, Marcel Aitman, are going to be two of the guys that are those bigger receivers that can run, but I'm not all that impressed with Alan Lazard. He's a back shoulder bully type of receiver. I actually think I like Arden Tate a little bit better after going back and watching more tape. John Perez says, people said that Demarius Randall was a locker room cancer in Green Bay. Is that true? He was a little bit of a head case, yeah. They had some issues with him on the sidelines. He walked off. They kicked him out of a game, or he walked off of the sidelines on a game. There were some issues with him in Green Bay, for sure. They were definitely ready to move on. That was not a match made in heaven there. So, yeah, he was a little bit of a malcontent in Green Bay. Fresh start for him. Blank canvas. Hopefully all is well now in Cleveland. We'll see how that goes. Reese says, Lou, I was gone. What did you think of the Carlton Davis pick? I talked about Carlton Davis and how he doesn't look for the football, but he's one of those big, long, rangy corners. I think he's going to be a safety before his career is all said and done. I look at him as a guy that could be like Malcolm Jenkins, that makes that positional switch, was a corner in college, makes the switch in the NFL after a year or two of trying to be a corner. To me, and I said this on the Draft Prospects 101, he's a splitting image of Quincy Wilson from Florida last year. Doesn't possess long distance speed, doesn't have the makeup speed to catch up if you beat him off the line of scrimmage, but he's aggressive in man-to-man at the line of scrimmage, loves to get up in your face, delete the airspace, jam you up at the line of scrimmage, be physical with you. I love him underneath as an underneath defender, whether he's in zone or man. He's very aware when he sees man and ball. Problem is, when he's 20, 25, 30, 35 yards down the field, he doesn't trust his speed, and he should not because it's not there. And so he panics, and he doesn't turn and look for football. He just face guards, and a lot of times he's susceptible to picking up PIs down the field. But I love him as a tackler. He's physical. He's aggressive. And if you're going to play cover 2 with him, he's the perfect cover 2, even cover 3 corner. As long as he can see man and ball, Carlton Davis is going to be a good football player. So it's just in how you employ him. I'd like to see, if you're going to use him in cover 3, let him press and bail. All right, let him come up, put hands on that receiver, but then allow him to bail out so he doesn't feel the need to shadow that receiver man-to-man. Allow him to just stay deeper than the deepest. All right. Buccaneers selection up. Tackle Alex Kappa out of Humboldt State. Can't help you on that one, Ree. So don't even ask. Sean Mack says, old school is the best school, dog. Sean Mack says, Jaguar secondary just got even better. Good Lord. I know, right? I know. This was the guy, Alex Kappa, out of Humboldt State. I will say this. This is the guy that Mike Mayock was just gushing over. They were talking about how on tape he was just tossing guys out the bar, just destroying, now again, Humboldt State. But they say he was just throwing guys around. So we're going to put that to the test at the next level. But he was just destroying these young boys at Humboldt State. So I can tell you that much. That's all I can give you. They were ranting and raving about how this guy was so physical and so nasty, physical, violent, and mean. And you see it on tape, finishing guys off. So there's that with him. Will Ford says, Saints selected the wrong UCF player. I guess you wanted Shaquem Griffin. KC says, does Gruden have dementia on the low? I don't think he does, but he's such a smart guy. When you watch him do the quarterback class and you listen to him on Monday Night Football, you know he knows football. I just don't understand what he's thinking right now. And maybe when we see when we see the vision and we see everything come together, maybe it'll all make sense. 49ers on the board. Nate Clements to give us the pick. And the pick is Tavares Moore, Southern Miss safety. I thought he was about to say Tavares McFadden from Florida State. When he said Tavares, I said, uh-oh, Tavares McFadden. Ron Tavares. Sean Mack says, 5 Buckeyes taken already. Tied with Alabama and Georgia for most in this draft. Hashtag Buckeyes Nation. Y'all do that every year, man. Y'all hold it down every year. Atlas says, suck it, Saints. We just picked up the guy that bodied Marcus Davenport at the Senior Bowl. Okay. John Perez says, can you tell me about Bo Scarborough? I watched a little bit of him at Alabama, but didn't do a draft prospects video on him. No. He didn't warrant one because I knew he wasn't going to go high in the draft. Bo Scarborough is a guy that is a build-up speed runner. Sort of like, he's a poor man's Derrick Henry. But he doesn't have the lower body strength of a Derrick Henry, which is crazy because you see his body and you're like, this guy's a freak. But he's got to get going. With Derrick Henry, he's the same thing, got to get going downhill. But Henry is a little bit more shiftier, lighter on his feet. Bo Scarborough has dealt with a ton of injuries, can't stay healthy. And the biggest question with him is, so you come back to school at Alabama and 2 dudes, not one, but 2 dudes take your spot. And you were reduced to being like the 3rd option at running back by the time it was time for you to leave at Alabama. What's with this guy? So not a lot of people high on Bo Scarborough. And I think he's going to go, if he even gets picked, he'll go late in this draft, 6th, 7th round. Andre Reed and that's not Jerry, it's Bird, is it? Nah, who is that? I'm tripping. Fred Jackson, that's who it is. I'm about to say, nah, Jerry's Bird's still playing. Isn't he? I think he is. Fred Jackson. Fred X. Andre Reed look like he about to talk us to death. He got a jersey in his hand. He might try to talk to us about Jim Kelly. I'll respect that. Jim fighting that fight with the oral cancer, and he just got out the hospital again. But Andre look like he about to talk us to death, though. I ain't gonna even lie to you, man. Jim looked like he about to, Andre looked like he about to give us about a good oh, man, they bringing him up on the stage, the super fan. That's pretty cool, man. And he crying and stuff. You know, it mean a lot to him. And hey, look, man, I'm going to tell you what. It ain't no mafia like Bills Mafia. Straight up, man. Bills fans, they hold it down, man. They hold it down like no other. So that's pretty cool, man. And I think they might have surprised him. I don't know if he knew he was going to get to do this. They brought him up on the stage. He's probably going to get to announce this pick. And he getting a little jersey here. Who jersey is that? He getting the NFL Draft 18 jersey. That's pretty cool, man. That's awesome. And he get to make the pick, man. And he didn't know he was going to get to do that. Hey, you can't be crying on the mic, though, man. Clean it up. Clean it up. Hands is shaking and everything, man. That's pretty cool, man. Harrison Phillips. So they replace. It's so crazy on my podcast. I was talking to Jay Reed, and we both said we're not huge fans of Harrison Phillips. But I told you I thought he would go in this round. But we both said we're not huge fans. I said, but he said, I asked him, who do you think will be the one guy you look back on in 7 years and say, man, I was wrong about him? And he said Harrison Phillips. I said, he's going to end up being, and I named the Bills defensive tackle. I'm trying to think of his name, man. That's been a beast for them for about a decade now. And he's coming back on a 1-year deal. He's the perfect replacement for him. Y'all know who the hell I'm talking about? I'm drawing a blank, man. Somebody help me. Come on. Comment section. Y'all out there, help me. Who's the Bills defensive lineman, the white dude? Kyle Williams. Never mind. Y'all ain't about shit. Kyle Williams is who I'm talking about. And I said, man, he going to be Kyle Williams in 7 years. Watch. Good-ass career. Steady as the day is long. And you know what you're getting out of him. And look who the Bills select. His replacement, Harrison Phillips. And that's some shit. That's crazy. All right. Let's get back to some more comments. Mark Block says, who did Washington pick in the 3rd? I missed it. Redskins picked tackle Jerron Christian out of Louisville. Don't know if he's going to kick inside the guard. Don't know if they're going to use him as a swing tackle to replace Ty Gesicki. Don't know. But you pick a guy in the third round, he's going to make your roster. Ty Gesicki's going to be on this roster. So I'm assuming this pick is for guard to kick him inside. But he's big as shit. 6'5" and some change. So I don't know. He's long as hell. We'll see. We'll learn more about that pick as time passes on. And we hear from the Redskins as to what they want to do with him. Tristan Brown says, Louie, glad to see you, man. Sorry for my absence. I was in Army basic training at ATI, but love the picks my Miami Dolphins have been making this draft. Hope you've been good. I'm glad to hear from you, bro. It's been a while, man, and I'm glad to hear you okay and everything's going well. Good to hear from you. Dolphins making some moves, man. At first, I was a little leery of the Dolphins this offseason. This has been a really quality draft for them, getting Minka and then turning around, getting the Ohio State linebacker. They've done some good things in this draft thus far. Excuse me. All right. So the Arizona Cardinals pick is in, and we got 4 picks left. After the Cardinals, it will be 3. Skinny Wild says, anybody pick up Griffin yet? No. Orlando McManus, if you want your comment read, use the hashtag LouieTLive. I didn't see your question because you didn't use the hashtag. That's how I identify what you guys want me to read. So I need you to use the hashtag LouieTLive. Then I can see your comment and read your comment. Need another glass? I think the Cardinals, it's about time for them to draft a cornerback, man. I'm not sure if they already did that, but they never had too many. Even if they did, it's time for them to address the cornerback position. If they decided they wanted to take one of these big body receivers, I wouldn't be mad at that. Gregory Lightbody says, what do you think of running back? What kind of running back do you think guys can be, and who should we get in the 4th? Maybe Hamilton. I don't know what they'll be targeting. I think anything's on the table at this point. Safety's on the table. Tight end's on the table. Another defensive lineman is on the table. Offensive line is on the table. Linebacker is on the table. It's all on the table. So Shaquem Griffin is interesting. I'd love it because the guy's a baller. Skinny Wild says, I want Griffin in D.C. We gonna see. Who is this? Is this Deuce Latui? Who is this coming out here acting the damn fool? Look, Troy Benson trying not to laugh. Is this Deuce Latui? Who the hell is this? Is this a? I knew it had to be Deuce Latui, crazy ass. Had to be. Deuce is having too much fun with this. What's up with all these Lucha Libre fans out here, man? Oh, we in Texas. That's right. We in Texas. He think he cutting a WWE promo. Man, read the card, man. Stop doing all that nonsense. Mason Cole, center, Michigan. So they're looking to revamp that offensive line. Mark in the Dark 10 says, who's the best wide receiver that the Skins should take? Hard to say. I don't know what they're looking to do. There's a number of receivers left, but it's all in what kind of receiver you're looking for. Looking for small and shifty. You're looking for big and able to go get the fade ball, which we seem to not be able to have done in D.C. Depends on what you're looking for. On Ramp TV says, do you think we can pick up Callaway or Kirk next? Wide receiver. Callaway is not getting drafted. He's not getting drafted. And Christian Kirk is gone. So unless you're talking about another Kirk that I don't know about, he's gone. Robert Gamble says, it's crazy how I got it right but wrong at the same time. Which is what? And I think they speak on behalf of me, and I should have said this too. But, hey, Tristan, man, thank you for your service, bro. And how rude of me not to say that. But, hey, it's guys like you who make it possible for people like myself to be able to do the things that I do, man. And so, man, we appreciate everything that you and all your fellow servicemen do for us. So, again, man, thank you for what you do, bro. We really appreciate you. Orlando McManus says, did the Redskins draft a wide receiver? No, they haven't drafted a receiver yet. I think they will at some point in this draft. It wouldn't shock me if they didn't. Tight end Jordan Atkins out of UCF is the selection for the Houston Texans. And the Denver Broncos pick is in. So we'll see who they decide to take. As we're at the penultimate pick in the third round. Broncos and then Chiefs. And then we are done with day number 2 of the 2018 NFL draft. So we'll see what the Broncos do and then what the Chiefs do to round out the group. Or the day, I should say. Gregory Lightbody says, who's the best tight end left? That would be Troy Fumagalli out of Wisconsin. He is the best tight end left in the draft, hands down. Ian Thomas, don't sleep. Also available and equally as good and may have an even higher upside over Troy Fumagalli. But you probably know more what you're getting out of Fumagalli than Ian Thomas. But both of those guys would be worthy of a pick. Orlando McManus says, okay, I already read that. Skinny Wild says, our wideouts aren't horrible. Like, I don't understand why everyone wants one. Ed McCaffrey is out. And the Broncos select cornerback Isaac. I heard them say his last name before. Yadam. Let's go with Isaac Y. I don't want to jack this man's name up. Out of Boston College, and I'm pretty sure Mike Mayock is going to break this one down thoroughly because he's a BC alum, and he's pretty good on all the players that come out of BC. As the Chiefs are on the board to wrap up day number 3. Skinny Wild says, our wideouts aren't horrible. I don't understand why everyone wants one. I just think it's just because they want more depth. You know, if we were to have one injury on the receiver core, we're in trouble. We don't have good depth. So it wouldn't hurt to add a guy that you like a lot, because I don't like Robert Davis from last year. I didn't like the pick last year. I don't like him now. They may like him, but I don't. So I'd love to see them get a guy that I think could take his spot. I mean, Brian Quick, they re-signed Brian Quick. So, I mean, that tells you the state of our receiver position right now. Pick is in for the Chiefs. On Ramp TV says, Deshaun Hamilton, Jordan Lasley, what kind of receivers are these? Hamilton is an all-around receiver. He's got a little bit of speed, sneaky fast, got some size on him, got some ball skills. Solid route runner, not the greatest route runner in the world, but does a little bit of everything. Jordan Lasley, on the other hand, is more of a guy that, don't let that 4.5 that he ran at the combine fool you. You hit this guy in stride, and he runs by guys. I mean, you watch Josh Rosen throw him the football in stride, and Lasley is taking off on guys. So I think he's more in that 6'1", 200-pound range, a guy that can run, and his problems are drops. That's why he's still sitting here. He's a good receiver, but too many drops on tape for him. Tristan Brown says, how's your Redskins doing this draft? And can't wait for everything you have in store when the season starts. I really appreciate the support, guys. I do this for all of us, man. We appreciate you, bro. Really do. Redskins, to me, had a rough day one. They didn't see it that way, but to me it was. There were some really talented football players on the board that they didn't select, but they bounced back in a major way in day number 2, trading back, picking up a third-round pick, and then getting the same guy that there were rumors that they would take in the first round. Definitely we're going to take with 44 in the second. They trade back to 59 and still get the same guy in running back Darius Geis, and then pick up an additional third-round pick that turned into Jerron Christian. Never, ever trust a man with 2 first names, tackle out of Louisville. Robert Gamble says, my Darius Geis pick. Oh, okay, I got you. Mark in the Dark 10 says, I believe the Redskins should draft Falk, let him sit behind Alex, Shaquem, Allen Lazard, and get Callaway as a free agent. I don't see them doing that much at receiver. And I still think they got some positions that they need to address. So, such as corner. I think they could use another safety. Chiefs are going to wrap up the third round with this selection of Dorian O'Daniel, linebacker out of Clemson, to wrap up the draft. And I know Sean Mack, my man Sean Mack, wanted Dorian O'Daniel, and now he is gone. John Perez says, I really think we're going to take a receiver in the 4th round if there's one there that they like that's available. Lil Lion says, so wow, teams are just going to let Shaquem Griffin drop like this. I thought he was a 3rd round pick. I'm actually disappointed that he didn't get selected in the 3rd round. He'll be the next domino to fall in this draft. Him and then the quarterbacks. Where do some of these other quarterbacks go? Laletta, Luke Falk, Logan Woodside. Where did some of these guys go? So that's it for day number 2. It's been a long 2 days, but very entertaining 2 days to say the least. And so I'm excited about what day 3 brings. This is where you make your team. Rounds 4, 5, and 6 is where you build the meat and potatoes, especially rounds 4 and 5. So you build the meat and potatoes of your team. You know, these are core special teamers. These are guys that are going to be cogs in the machine. Maybe not standouts, but cogs in the machine that help you build a winner in this league. And so don't discount what happens tomorrow. We may not be all eyes and ears, but you're going to be checking in to see what your team did in the 4th, in the 5th, in the 6th round. So we'll come back. We'll break it all down on Sunday. Talk about what every team did and what I think, you know, who are the biggest winners, some of the teams that did okay, not great. We'll break it all down, though, on Sunday after it's met its conclusion on Saturday. And so I thank each and every single one of you for joining me here for both days. If you've only joined me for one, whatever the case may be, thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Louie T Network. This has been a lot of fun, as it always is. And we'll reconvene on Sunday, and when we break down all of these teams' drafts and look at what these teams did, a quick look and quick glance at what teams were able to accomplish in the 2018 NFL Draft. I'm your man, Louie T. Remember, we changing the game over here, period. I'll see you guys on Sunday. Have a good one.